Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Booyah! What did you say?
Let's get
Let's get this money. That's the way to start the weekend.
Start on Friday. Get this money.
Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, everybody. It is so good to be with you again. We're going to be here for the next 2 hours talking about all the things that are pertinent in the Cleveland sports world. I'm Jay Crawford. Later in the show, I want everybody on the panel's opinion. Kicker. 4th round draft pick. Is that a good deal? I've got strong thoughts on that. We'll get everybody's thoughts later in the show.
Man, I'm G. Bush, and of course, I'm going to tell you why. Just calm down a little bit. You're going to see why the Cleveland Browns is going to be bona fide, grade A, exciting, and elite on offense.
Ooh, I like that.
And I'm Brad Sellers. And I'm just happy to see that the King is back in town and most needed where he's needed the most. Looking forward to talking about it.
And I'm comedian Kevin James. And Adam Sandler has a new movie coming out on Netflix in a couple of weeks, and he didn't invite me to be in it. That's the only way I get work. It's with Adam Sandler. It's a bad job at him not inviting me.
I love Kevin James. I
Awesome.
love him. I think he's great.
He did this bit once where it was about how fat guys often get their underwear or boxers stuck in their, you know what?
Yeah.
And he does like, I got to do this. He does like, this is the fat guy walk to get your underwear out of your butt without pulling it out. He's like, you got to do this, you know. You do this.
It is a little bit of a little sumo.
Yeah. It's like you got to be a sumo wrestler.
I'll be on the lookout for that. I love Kevin
Now I
James.
screwed up all my wires that Steve set up.
Fix your wires.
Yeah.
Fix your wires.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to start today's show by talking about Nick Chubb. I don't know, guys, if there's a better player-person combo in the NFL. I just think Nick Chubb, if you could go into the lab and build the perfect football player, all aspects, mind, heart, body, work ethic, and his compassion for his teammates. The guy loves everybody. He loves everybody so much so. Listen to what he said about Baker Mayfield. Said this, I think, 2 days ago, the first day of OTAs.
Yep.
He said, he'll still always be one of my best friends. Not my friends, guys. He said best friends.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. I know with his intensity and his attitude, wherever he lands, he'll be ready. Now, granted, they came in together, the same draft class. Yep. They had some success together. They had some highs and some lows. But so you think that, wow, maybe he is in Team Mayfield. But then just when you start thinking he's in Team Mayfield, he has this to say about new quarterback Deshaun Watson, the guy who, by the way, ran his best friend out of town. He's a great guy to be around. We all love him. He's a natural leader. He's been here since OTA started. He took us on a trip. I think those things bring in trust and bonding for our team.
Yeah.
What a likable guy. Is he a fence rider or is he really this nice?
No, it's not that he's a fence rider. Nick Chubb is not going to say anything bad about
Never.
anybody. I don't believe he dislikes. I believe what he says about Baker, and I believe what he says about Deshaun Watson. I think if he didn't like somebody, I doubt he would say it, but I don't think that's the case. Obviously I've been down on Baker Mayfield, but I'm not going to say Nick Chubb's lying about Baker Mayfield. I don't believe that at all. I think Nick Chubb believes Baker's going to go somewhere else and be a pretty solid quarterback, and I'm sure they do have a good relationship. But if he didn't like Baker, he wouldn't say it. Same thing with Watson. I'm sure he loves Watson. I'm sure he loves Baker. Nick Chubb is the man, though. I go to your initial point. He is my favorite Cleveland Browns player in the 11 years I've been covering the Browns. This will be year 12 coming up. And even before that, I can't think of another player on the Browns that I've ever liked more. Again,
I'm with you on that.
I don't know him personally.
Right.
I've interviewed him a couple of times, but you don't really know anybody until you know him. But I've never heard of bad peep. I actually have a good friend who used to live in the same, I don't even want to say what it is.
Yeah,
in the same
vicinity
as Nick Chubb, and said the guy never had a party. He was always friendly to everybody.
Yeah.
Like if anybody bothered him and said hello, he always was friendly. So by all accounts, the nicest guy. And an incredible football
Brad, you know what it takes to be successful in politics.
Yeah.
You are the mayor. It seems like he could be a mayor or whatever he wants.
He don't like to talk as much as Brad, though.
I don't know that anybody dislikes him or he dislikes anybody else.
Well, let me say, I think Nick Chubb is the epitome of a Southern guy, right? He's got Southern hospitality. He comes out. I don't think he's offensive to anybody. His work ethic is what he brings to the table every day and shows everybody what he is. So I kind of like the way you try to kill Baker under the way it says he ran your guy out of town, right?
Well, put it this way: if he didn't agree to come to Cleveland, Baker would be our quarterback.
But I'll say this though. I'll say this. So Nick Chubb here, he's doing the politically correct thing. He's signing off with his guy on this end.
Yeah.
He's signing on to his new guy coming in here, right?
Yeah,
Because he got to work with this guy.
Got to grease those skids.
Right. And you never burn a bridge because you never know when you're going to see somebody again, right? And so Nick's laying right down the middle, right? And he does it without having to say a bunch of words.
He's dope because, you know, he understands the game. He understands the mind game. He understands what he got to say. And he said, yo, I understand this is a business. So what I'm going to do is, that's my man over here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's my
mans.
people. That's my mans in them. You know what I'm saying? He eat birthday cake with him. You know you somebody's dude when you eat birthday.
Right, no
if
question.
you show up at a little kid birthday party and give a gift and you the only grown dude there and you ain't got kids yet, that means that's your guy.
Right.
So I like what Nick Chubb did right there, but he said, but don't get it twisted. This new dude we got in here, he see what the talent is looking like. And I'll go a step further. I'll say this. I think Nick Chubb not only is the most dependable, he's one of the best teammates. He's probably one of the rocks on offense. I'd argue that Nick Chubb has been the best player on the Cleveland Browns for the last 3 years.
Shout out to Kevin Stefanski
right.
for putting that basketball hoop out on the basketball.
I love that.
on the football field.
I know, smart.
Because you know most football players swear they're like the second coming of Jordan, right?
I think they are. Yeah.
Miles Garrett. In full disclosure, I do have to disclose one thing. The Ohio State football players and basketball players got into it one time when I was at Ohio State, and they challenged us to a basketball game at Jesse Owens Rec Center.
Well, that had to be
Ooh, I wish I could
So
be
you're
a fly
talking
on
about
the
the Chris
wall.
Carters, the Pepper
Chris Carter's hoop
Johnsons,
now.
the
Kick
Keith
their ass.
Byers, right? And I have to, Thad Jemison, I have to respectfully say that they whooped that butt.
Yeah.
We took an L.
Y'all took
took an L.
Wait, you did?
We took an L. We took an L.
What?
I took an L. We were betting money. And you know, in college, you don't have no money.
Wait, how did they beat you?
Because they could actually play.
Who was the best baller?
So Chris Carter was the best
Chris
by
can
far.
hoop.
Could he have played in the NBA?
Chris was multi-talented across the board.
So fast.
Because I said, damn, Chris, why you didn't come out here and play with us? He's like,
I wouldn't have, in a million years, I wouldn't have thought
So
that's
here,
where you were
Keith
going with that
Byers-
story.
Here, we'll get Keith Byers on the show one day, right? He won't ever let me live it down every time he see me. And then when Chris Carter hosted the Sports Awards here that one year, he said, matter of fact, let me tell you this story. I see my man's out in the audience.
I can see Chris doing that.
Yeah, it's hard for you to hide in the audience.
Right.
I think the bottom line here is Nick is the guy that any of the 32 head coaches would love to have on their roster.
You'd love to have 50 Nick Chubbs.
What I love most about him is he's humble. He is superstar status in this game.
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
I think if he was used differently and a little more aggressively, he could be the premier offensive player in the game that wasn't a quarterback. I believe he's that good.
Yeah.
I think we've only scratched the surface on what he can be. But we're lucky to have him, guys. And we know the window for running backs in the NFL is pretty small.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's just
And he
enjoy the heck
signed
out of this guy while we have
contract
him.
extension. You usually don't like to pay running backs too much money,
Right.
Because their shelf life is small. But his contract was very reasonable. He was not looking for every last dollar. He just wanted to get paid fairly. He did. He made nothing of it. G's right. He's the best player on the team. As much as I love Myles Garrett too,
I agree with that
I'm
too.
taking Nick Chubb over
no argument
Myles
here.
Garrett.
We might look back over time and find out that Stefanski's methodology for playing Hunt and Chubb together has prolonged both of their careers.
No, that's exactly
true.
part of the thinking.
That's true.
I think that's.
And by the way, another thing about Chubb that I
Yeah.
like, and I'm not, again, I want to make it clear, I'm not an anti-celebration guy. I'm fine with celebrations in the end zone.
I know where you're going.
But Nick Chubb scores, and what I love about this is he's like, I just did what I expected to do.
Yeah,
I don't need a party
exactly.
here.
He's confused. It almost looks like he tries to get rid of the ball so fast, so there's no chance
like,
of a
I'm
celebration
done.
here. No, here,
he
give
doesn't
take
want the
it.
That's it.
spotlight. Yeah.
He doesn't like to talk too much.
He reminds me of Walter Payton.
Yeah.
In that Walter was just the epitome of class. I think one of the most prestigious awards in the NFL given every year
award.
is in his
Yeah.
honor.
Yeah.
And I think that's appropriate. Nick Chubb, to me, is cut from that same Walter Payton
Yes.
cloth. And I hope we have him for a very long time. And I hope he gets to see the ultimate, and that's the Super Bowl.
Well, I don't want to ever see him in another uniform.
I couldn't take that.
Disturbing.
Well, I think that's why he's loved by the city, right? He really represents the work ethic that goes on in the city. People come in and get it done and just go on about their business, right? And so I think when you're following and rooting for a person, I think that it's clear that he's one that can be rooted for because he's just carrying out the morals and ethics that you want to be represented on the field.
Yeah, he's a great representative of the city of Cleveland.
Think about the most accomplished athlete, most accomplished professional athletes right now in Cleveland. Jose Ramirez, Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett. They're all guys that are very likable.
Yeah.
Now I know Nick and Jose don't talk a lot, especially Jose, because with the English. But they're all I think of them all as kind of blue collar guys.
I do too. Yeah.
Myles Garrett's got a much bigger personality than the other two, but we'll talk a little bit later about the D&D. He's a dork, and it's kind of cool that he's a dork, and I think people really like that about him. I don't know. And even the young Cavs guys who are coming up as superstars also seem like they're cut from that same cloth.
They seem humble, and they seem happy to be part of the party. Cleveland's lucky right now to have that collection of athletes that we do with Evan Mobley and Ramirez, and you mentioned Chubb and Garrett. These guys, these aren't guys that are going to, be on the wrong side of the law. They're not guys that you're going to see, spouting off at fans or losing their temper. Very even-keeled and superstars on the field, but I think superstars off of it as well. Let's talk about a report on Baker Mayfield yesterday. I found this fascinating because as we're trying to figure out how much of the Browns or how much of his $18.8 million salary the Browns will end up picking up, there was a report out yesterday that talked about a deal between the Browns and the Panthers that sounds like it was really close to happening. But the moving parts of the deal, Carolina wanted the Browns to pick up between $13 and $14 million of his $18 million salary, about 75% of that. Browns wanted more compensation to take on that much money of his contract, and thus the deal didn't happen.
Right.
Your initial thought when you heard that, Bull, is that something that they'll live to regret?
Yes. I guess in the end, if they were going to eat $13, $14 million, I don't know how much that you can regret it that much because in the end you're only saving $5 million. But I think you will regret it. I don't think it's a disaster, but I think you will regret it because I'll be surprised if they're able to move him and not eat at least that much.
I agree.
At this point.
Right.
Well, it depends on how it plays out, right? Again, I've been a proponent. I'm not going to back away from it. I think that he's at some point, if Watson's suspended, he's under center here, right? And I think the deal can reemerge in some other form, right? It's hard for professional teams to say, I got to pay you for a mistake I had, right? I got to pay for it to go away. So I don't think the Browns want to eat that much
But it
money.
happens now more than it used to.
Yeah, but here, Bull, in some places, some people readily eat it. Dallas eats it, or the bigger markets eats it. I mean, the places in the smaller markets.
But the Browns did it with Odell last year.
Well, but here, they're not going to do it all the time, right?
No,
they can't do it full. This is not this type of town, right? This is just not. I don't care what sport it is. This is not this type of town, right? And so they're hesitant about it. Now, how it plays out is this thing could get hairy down the stretch here because it could get kind of ugly here because it depends on how hard Baker Mayfield wants to play it, right? And if he draws a line in the sand, I was telling somebody the other day, if he draws a line in the sand, the Browns are going to draw a line in the sand. This thing could get ugly here.
Well, you look at it. This might be kind of soft. You would have got the 14. 14 is a big number, but it's more than what I thought the Browns were going to pay. I mean, 14. I think they want to do somewhere between 8. They might look to 8 to 10, but to go.
I think they'd be thrilled if they could get that now.
Right now, the longer it goes, I'm wondering how much of that number changes. So they wanted back then 13 to 14. Right. As the season goes on, nobody gets hurt. What if you get to the third preseason game and he's still there?
It's not even just hurt. It would have to be a catastrophic injury.
Yeah, it would be like that guy is done for like the year. So now you're looking at a position where the Browns might have to eat that 18. And if you got him on the roster at some point, and I'm not even a huge Baker proponent, but I will say this: I'm for the players. And if Baker gets to a point where he on the roster, he just sitting there, and this regular season is coming, I would have to do him a solid and be like, you know what? We're going to have to cut him loose.
Right.
I cut him loose.
Get what you can and move on.
Yeah, just move on. Just let him get his money.
I asked this person if they would come on the show and be a guest, and he wasn't he wasn't willing to do that. So I didn't know, like, how much of this are you gonna claim? He said, well, I'm not gonna go on TV and say it. But it's a former player, then executive, now media member, who I was just spitballing my theory, and Brad, you've co-signed on it, that, well, what if there's a huge suspension? And I wanted to know his thoughts on that. And he said, the Browns and Baker Mayfield are irrevocably broken. They cannot repair that bridge. And then I said, well, under what scenario could you ever see him wearing an orange helmet again? And we've been talking about, what if there's a big suspension for Deshaun Watson? He does become this insurance policy. He does not think that a Deshaun Watson suspension would put Baker Mayfield under center. So I said, then you're saying there's no scenario where that could happen. And then he gave me a scenario that I hadn't thought of. And I don't know if the Browns have thought of this. Injury. But he said there's one way Baker Mayfield plays for the Browns again. And that's if the injury is to Deshaun Watson. If the injury is to Deshaun Watson, and it's a catastrophic one that has cost him the season, which he's had one of those before, if that scenario happens, the Browns then, even though they'd have to pivot because their backup quarterbacks that they've brought in are more in the mold of running the Deshaun Watson offense than Baker is. He said that's the only scenario that I could ever see Baker Mayfield taking another snap, because now he has more information on this than I do. He said, no, they're not fixing it.
So G and I have been vindicated.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Here's the thing. Like, so he asked me what I thought of that proposal, and I said, it's interesting because we've discussed this on the program 10 times, and no one has really brought that scenario up.
I hadn't thought about that.
And you know why we haven't thought about that? Because God forbid, right?
Why
God forbid.
Why would that change, in his perspective, why did that change it for Baker? Or
it would be, well, because of, he said if Baker isn't moved before Deshaun's hurt, there's no chance he plays if there's a healthy Deshaun Watson, even if there is a lengthy suspension. He thinks, I said, what if he gets 8 games? He said, it doesn't matter. Baker's not taking another step.
So what happens here? Because
unless Deshaun gets hurt.
There have been many professional franchises that have held on to players, and they did what was in the best interest of the team, not the best interest of the player. And that required you sitting down. You sat down, right? And when I needed you is when I went to you. Look it up.
Oh, that's happened many times.
I think the team thinks it's in the best interest of the team to have him gone, too.
Well, it depends on who's at the helm, right?
So I asked that question.
You have some general managers and presidents that don't care about the outside noise. Like, I'm doing what's in the best interest of my organization, what I feel like I'm going to do. I don't care what kind of pressure's out there.
We've yet to see what it's hard to see what the Browns actually think about Baker's skill set because they got Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's skill set is so much higher than Baker's. It's like, okay, we don't even talk about it. But we don't know what the difference in their mind is between Jacoby Brissett and Baker Mayfield.
We don't know.
We don't know.
No.
Maybe they think Jacoby is comparable. Maybe they think Baker is a overall he's just killing Jacoby Brissett.
Okay.
And then here's the thing. If you did bring him back in that scenario where Deshaun Watson got hurt, got injured, you know what the great thing about it is? Baker wouldn't look over his shoulder because Deshaun Watson is not playing. He can't. So and this is last year, and that would make the most sense in that case.
And Bull, you made a point a minute ago. You said, well, it just depends on, you don't think the Browns are ready to have him back. I asked that question. Do you think the team is ready to have him back? And his answer was 3-pronged. He said, if you ask the players, I have no doubt under that scenario, the players would. He said the players in the locker room, there's no rift between Baker and the players. That's what he told me.
Okay.
He said the players would open him with open arms, primarily because they want to win.
Right.
They want the best available player. And if you put Deshaun, Baker, Jacoby in a lineup, Deshaun would be the first pick. He said, even though you don't know the difference between Jacoby and Baker, he said that Baker would clearly be the second pick, and then Jacoby. But he said it just depends who you ask. If you ask the team, the players, they would like to have him back. He doesn't know, he hasn't had this conversation with Stefanski. He believes Stefanski would definitely welcome him back. But he said, I don't know where the front office is, and more importantly, ownership. Because as you guys know, if ownership isn't willing to sign off on something, it just isn't going to happen here. It's not. And if they say, from their vantage point, that there's just no way my team can ever have Baker Mayfield under center again, it's not going to happen.
Right, that's it.
So we just don't know. It's all hypothetical. And I hate that hypothetical, too, because when I read the text that said, what if D gets hurt?
Yeah. Oh.
My heart sank. I can't even stop to think about that. Okay, I love this next story because I think that as great as LeBron James is as a basketball player, I think his impact on society is way greater off the court. And I know that sounds like hyperbole, but I visited the I Promise School about a month ago. I think you've been there, Brad. I know we all know the work that goes on there. I had read extensively about the I Promise School. I had seen videos of what goes on there. When I experienced it and I walked through the building and I talked to the kids and I experienced my day there, it blew away my greatest expectation for what he was doing there. First of all, these kids are, a lot of them second chance kids. They've had problems in some area of their life, be it family life, school, whatever. These kids were one of the, as a group, most well-adjusted kids that I've been around in a very long time. Yeah. They were respectful. They were polite. They were happy. I saw nothing but smiles, which I've been to other schools where you don't see a whole lot of smiles, and it breaks my heart. LeBron yesterday decided he was going to have a surprise visit at the I Promise School, and I promise you this, even if you're not a LeBron James fan, when you see this video, you cannot disparage this guy as a person because it's clear from the reaction to the kids what he means to them. Watch this. Stevie?
Say LeBron James! LeBron James!
It gets no better than this.
That kid's going nuts.
He's got a Jordan sweatshirt on.
Say LeBron James!
I mean, how amazing is that? The little guy on the right is actually wearing a Jordan 23 sweatshirt, which I thought was so ironic. But he is the closest thing to royalty that they really have, that they know. They're all keen. They're very keenly aware of why they are where they are and who's behind it. And I think that model, Brad, I know you're in politics. Yeah. When I spent my day there, I was asking some folks that are with the LeBron James Family Foundation, how is it that we haven't replicated this model? They don't get federal funding, guys.
No.
That's one of the best run, cleanest, most impressive schools I've ever been in. And they're doing it with private donations, corporate donations, and big checks from LeBron James.
He has leverage. First of all, kudos to LeBron James, right? You separate LeBron James from the basketball player to the human, to the person, right? He has taken his life experience and put that back into play here, right? Because he's created an atmosphere for and a roadway and a pathway for young people to get through, right? And he's done it with his leveraging his celebrity and everything he brings to the table, and he has invested back into his own community. Now, you have to understand that the community of Akron is special, right? They are as tightly bonded together as any city across this country, right? And they respect and take care of their own, right? So you cannot go anywhere near Akron and think you'll disparage LeBron James. It's just not going to happen, right? And the thing about it is, no matter where he's gone, he has always invested back into his own community, right? And he has put his money where his mouth is, where a lot of people around this country do a lot of talking. He doesn't do a lot of talking. He tries to make sure it happens. And then he has brought the weight of his entire operation to make sure that the school has an opportunity, putting kids through school, full scholarships and everything else, right? And before he left here, he and I had a conversation when I was doing the Cavs Media Day. I said, you contact me at the end, right? Because you're going to be the governor of this place. And he was like, I said, let me tell you something. You're well-financed, right? You don't need to raise any money. You got over a couple million followers, right? You can get your message out, right? And you understand the plight and the pathway, right? So he was like, this is the look on his face. He was like,
was he open to a
He hadn't thought about it. He hadn't thought about it.
Really?
Right? He had thought about it. And I said, I'm just leave this with you today, right?
Well, he's very involved with social issues.
Yes.
And
he could win a.
Why not?
He could win an election like nobody's business.
I've never thought of that either, but I think that's a great idea, Brad.
Yes, he could. And because it's not about the money. It's
he'd be beholden to no one.
It's about You're beholden to no one. It's about the change you can affect in the lives of people. That's what this job is about. It's not about the money.
So he didn't dismiss that out
I
of hand.
did not dismiss it.
All right.
As a black man, you know, you just gotta. The black community is they really are protective of LeBron James, because he's one of their own, and he is doing things in his own community. See, a lot of people don't understand when he say, "I'm from Akron, I'm not from Cleveland." That's like people to get that.
Yeah, that's not even a slight.
That's not
No,
a slight.
it's not
He
a
didn't
slight.
get that. He just saying that's what. If I say, if people ask me where I'm from Canton. I'm not, but I live in Cleveland.
Right.
But people think it's all one thing. He's like, no. You got to go to the community and see on that ground level.
That's right.
It's levels to this thing. Yeah. And one of the things that we always talk about is, you know, we do a lot of stuff about social change and social issues, and the first thing that they say is, you know, black men aren't in the household. People give that as a reason why you got poverty rates or crime or violence or economic issues, because black men aren't in the home. But this dude not only is a black man, he married his wife, he had 3 kids, he take care of all of them.
And a terrific father.
Right.
And on top of that, he ain't never been out. He ain't been in no scandals.
He's present.
He's in the building. He's there with his kids. He's parenting. And not only does he do that, he does that to the community because he understands where he comes from. So from my standpoint, he's one of the best examples as a guy coming out of college or high school with all the expectations of the world. You know how many people would have folded under that?
Oh, my God.
And
He broke the cycle, which is really hard to do.
and he has now done it in a way where he's an example of that's how you do it if you want to do it.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of people that have gone through his school will now be better off, and they'll do things in the community. Now, maybe not every person, but there will be some that will pay it forward, right? And that will, and
I hope.
as a whole community, there'll be improvement because of what he
The
did.
beautiful thing is he has given to in our own community is some of the problem is we don't have the exposure to some things, right? And so we don't find out till much later in life. And if we learned it earlier, we would have been much better off, right? He's giving these kids a chance of exposure and then a chance at this. You can get there, right? Show me. Because we don't know, by example, lead me by example. How can I get there? I might not get to your level.
Right.
But there's a pathway.
The thing that was so impressive to me that I didn't know about, I didn't know the depth of how far he went. LeBron himself said it's so important that we help the kids, first and foremost. But you have to understand the kids are the product of the problem.
Yeah.
You have to fix the problem. So you know what he did? He's got in place an entire team of people to help the parents with literacy,
Right.
getting jobs, making sure they're taking advantage of all the social resources that are available that most of them don't know that are there or how to get. Legal services, if they need legal services, they're in a battle and they're trying to keep custody of their kid or whatever the case may be. Housing, he has thought of every possible pitfall because he lived it in his life.
So
he knows what it's like to come from that environment.
So, and quickly, in my world, they're called wraparound services, right? So he has provided the wraparound services.
Okay, I didn't know that's what they were
to
called.
boost
but it makes
you up.
sense.
If you do one without the other,
to plug the gap, right?
It's ineffective
That's
if you're not
That's
doing
it. So
both.
you have to lift people up, and by plugging the gap, his operation is doing that. Now it's doing it on a smaller scale, but because it's just an Akron, right? So, but it is showing people what needs to be done.
My hope is, because when I asked the LeBron James Family Foundation people this, Stephanie had told me, I said, why isn't this being done everywhere? And she said, that's a great question. Yeah. I think it needs a 60 minutes piece where they really show exactly what he's doing. The average person knows he's got a school, it's nice. Yeah. They have no idea how impactful it was. I met a kid who wants to be in broadcasting. I asked him, what's your grades? He said, all A's and B's. I said, that's fantastic. 15 minutes later, he came up to me and he said, Jay, I'm not making that up. I really do get good grades. And I said, no, I believe you do. I believe you do. But he said, I didn't always, but I do now. And then he asked me, can I have your phone number? I want to text you. Because I told him at the end of every year, I want to see that you have A's and B's. He said, I want your phone number so I can text you. I'm going to show you, I'm going to take a picture of my report card to prove to you that I get all A's and B's. And now I'm getting texts from him on sport, like I've made a new friend. And this kid is lovable, and he's had a rough upbringing, but he's just a great kid. And without LeBron James in this school, none of this happens.
Right.
So kudos to you, LeBron. All right, boy, here's a depressing topic. The Cleveland Guardians. Ugh. Guys, we're watching the season slip away before our very eyes, and they're not in a division that I don't think anybody's going to run away from any other team and hide. But at this point in the season, they're now 18-23, and they look like, I mean, they can't get past the Tigers the last couple of nights. We're at the quarter pole of the season, and we're asking this question because at the quarter pole, we like to hand out grades.
Right.
It's like the first 9-week grading period. We've got 1 quarter in the books or 9 weeks in the books. What grades are you giving? I want you to grade the offense, the pitching. That's all we're doing, right? Offense and
Offense,
pitching.
pitching, overall.
Overall.
Yeah.
What are your grades, Bull?
All right, so I'm trying to remember what I gave the other day.
Give me this.
My hitting was a B minus. My pitching is a D, and my overall is a C minus. Now, the hitting's been pretty bad in May, but my grade, I'm factoring in what I expected for this. Like,
Right.
if I wasn't doing that, I probably would have given it a C. But I thought the Guardians' offense was going to be horrible for the whole season, and it was really good in April.
Sure.
It's been bad lately.
It has.
I'm certainly worried about it now. I gave it a B minus, though, because Owen Miller, who you see right there, who looks a little like, is it Derek Lowe? No, not, I can't think of the player he looks like. But Owen Miller's done a good job, hit another home run yesterday. I like what he's done. Jose Ramirez has been great. Stephen Kwando has fallen off a cliff.
Man, has he?
Fran Meal's been awful. Ahmed Rosario's been pretty awful this year.
Made a huge base running mistake, I thought,
Terrible.
last night.
Terrible.
Late in the game, trying to stretch that to a double.
His fundamentals are brutal.
And I know Rick Manning on the broadcast praised it and said he loved the aggressiveness. It's tie game in the 8th. You've got at least a runner on first with Jose coming up behind him, who, by the way, got a base hit that was to right field, which would have put him on third, first and third, 1 out. And I know that's hindsight, but that's a simple base running mistake you can't make.
I usually, 90% of the time, love the aggressive base runner. In this case, I'm with you.
The game was tied and it was late.
I didn't like the situation, especially with Ramirez coming up.
You only take a bag in that situation if you know you can get it.
Right. The pitching has been awful.
The bullpen's been pretty good.
The bullpen's been pretty good, and I like Emmanuel Clase, but outside of him, there's nobody I completely trust.
Their bullpen's batting average against is below 200.
I bet you that's common throughout the league.
No, they're second best in baseball.
All right, fair
Only
enough.
one bullpen has a better
But
batting
their
average
starting
against.
pitching has
Starting
been
pitching has
awful
been,
outside of Tristan McKenzie.
Outside of McKenzie, yeah.
It's been awful.
Bieber,
He's been great.
Bieber goes tonight. We'll talk about him in a
Yeah,
second.
he's
Good
been
bat,
up and
bad
down.
bat, but man,
the
he's
rest
been
of
all
the
over.
guys are not missing bats. They've been terrible. Now
Yeah.
Savali is an injured ass. So I give him a D. Overall, a C minus.
All right, what's your grades,
All
Brad?
right, so I'm a little bit different than Bull. I gave the Guardians an overall C as an average,
Right.
and then their hitting is I believe 12th in the majors, so I gave them a C plus on it.
Okay.
The pitching has been a C minus, right?
I think that's fair.
They are a middle of the road team, right? This is not the team that went World Series bound, right? We got a lot of work to do here, right? And the best thing they got going is you have at least a manager at the helm that knows what he's doing,
doubt.
right? Now, if we can inject some real talent here, right? Because let's be clear, there's a lack of talent on this team.
There is.
There's a lack of talent on this team, and it's burning us.
G. Bush, what do you got?
Man, put my graphics. Let me my graphics up here, man.
He can't remember his grades.
Because in the last 2 days, I wanted to give him a D in something.
Yeah.
Look, that hitting, that should be at a C minus, but I'm gonna let that ride because it's a little dated. Man, look, man, like you said, when you're talking about this talent level, it ain't like you can imagine where the people in their roster, they just playing, they're in a slump right now. No, that's you. Like, you ever see somebody who's like, oh, you're big. No. You haven't been eating the last couple of days. You've been eating for a while. This is nothing new. These hitting, like you got one stick that somebody is scared of. And what the Indians usually have is pitchers to hang their hat on, where it kind of masks a lot of things. You're like, well, they're getting great outings, 6-7 innings from so-and-so, and no. Now you're at a point where you're at this dangerous part of the schedule, the dangerous part of the game where people is kind of tuning out. It's kind of being like, okay,
They're not even average right now. They're
They're
below average.
They're below
baseball
average right
team.
now.
Yeah.
And when you're
People
18-23, you're below average.
people not checking for them, and that's the problem I have. Where do you see? How do they go Is there anybody they have right now that says if we
The
can
kid they
get
brought
that
up
guy,
yesterday got a double in the ninth inning, I think.
Right, yes.
Took a pitch the other way, like a 99-mile-an-hour pitch. He looks like he might have some skills.
And I like Palacios, who they just called back up as
I
well.
do too.
But here's the problem with the Guardians. I was actually on a podcast that Zach Meisel and TJ Zuppe do with The Athletic. I went on with them. Well, Zach wasn't on, but I went on with them yesterday. We talked about the fact that the Guardians, I screwed it up, don't have any tier 2 players right now. They really should in Fran Meal, but he's not played like it. They have a superstar in Jose.
Naylor's been great.
But he's not a tier 2 player.
No, he's not, but he's been great.
The Guardians have a superstar and then a bunch of guys who are either solid major leaguers
or below average
or unproven. Rookies, which is majority, or young players, which is the majority of the lineup, especially in baseball, there's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of adjusting and then readjusting.
You know what I don't understand
you
is
can't
why
rely on all those guys.
Mailey, I think, should be the everyday catcher.
I don't think he's any good either.
He's hitting
but
350, and it seems like every time he's up in a spot, he's doing something. And
Yeah,
and
he's
you're
been
talking
better.
about, is he better than Austin Hedges?
Yeah, but I think he'd get exposed if he played more too. You might as well. I don't disagree with. I'd call up Lavistida. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Lavistida, the kid who was there early in the season.
Right.
The bottom line is, we need those good borderline type of all-star players.
You two tell me this.
They should have traded for Matt Olson or signed Anthony Rizzo.
They should have signed a lot of them.
What is this a 5? You know, they used to sell us on the 3 to 5. Every 3 to 5 we got to tear it down. How many years is it before?
It depends. What's the payroll going to be next year? I'll give you the answer.
I think help is coming there.
I don't know. We've heard that. And
But
they
the
didn't do
deal's not
anything this year.
deal's not finished, so the new owner can't chip in. And quite frankly, I don't think Dolan has it.
Last thing, 15 seconds, Mike. I do have some serious concerns about how good Plesac and Savali are long term. I'm not convinced they're top 3 rotation
They were
starters.
great in the past. They've been average to below average this year. Here's my grades, and I gave a second. I'll have a final grade in just a second. I think the pitching, for what we expected, has been below average. The reason I gave it a C was because I do think the bullpen has been very impressive. This guy, McKenzie, has been awesome.
Yeah.
Pilkington, who pitched, I think he made his second start last night.
Yeah.
He shows real promise in the future. And the guy they brought in, the young kid, he looks like he's in junior high. He came in and pitched 3 innings last night before the end. His name is
totally
escaping me right now.
it's
He's got electric stuff. They just keep
De Los
bringing.
Santos?
No. They keep
wasn't-
bringing these pitchers in from out of
I
nowhere.
can't even think of it.
Oh boy.
Mike, if you can, check the box
did they bring
score.
in?
He threw the 3. He threw like
boy,
the
Jay
5th,
Reed.
6th, and 7th.
It's
or
embarrassing.
6th,
I
7th,
should
and
know
8th.
that.
Last
I can't
night.
think of it.
Let me know who that guy.
Yeah.
I should know it too.
Yeah, I can't.
He looks like he's 17 years old.
Yeah, I know
He's
who you're
got-
talking about. I just can't think of his
He's
name
got
right now.
tremendous stuff, and I think he's got a great future. So they just keep bringing these pitchers up, these arms that you're like, okay. So I give them a C there. Hitting was a A+, I thought, early on. They've completely fallen off the table, with the exception of Jose. So I'll give them a C, overall a C. But I had to give one more grade. I want to grade ownership.
Okay.
12,000 fans is the average attendance right now. That is 26th in baseball.
Yeah.
That's near the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm giving owners a D because they're not doing right by the fans. I want to separate ownership, the guys who write the checks, from the front office. I think
no doubt.
the Guardians front office is the best in baseball. I wouldn't trade them for anyone. They've consistently done more with less.
I'll give you that.
The way they've developed pitchers, they're the envy of the other 29 major league franchises.
Absolutely.
They just are. They're incredible at how they have hit on organizations are thrilled if they can hit on one every 5 years.
Yeah.
They hit on one every year. They bring up a new guy and you're like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
So the ownership is a D because he hasn't provided the financial tools
No doubt.
to give the best manager and the best front office in baseball what they need to compete. And that's a crime. If they continue,
I would take Tampa Bay's front office first. I'd put Guardians second, but that's
I like ours. I
Yeah.
just do, and I love Tampa's. I
Yeah.
love what they're doing but they
But
have an
they're
owner.
one of the best
They have an
either way.
owner that at least gives them a little bit more money to work with.
they got-
than
the
the
Guardians have had, in general, have had higher payroll.
They
than the
got
Rays
people-
the
last
couple
3 years they've been
Right.
right at the bottom.
They got PPP loans. They should sign up for some of them, dog.
Are you eligible for those as an owner of a major league? Probably. Okay, we're going to take a break.
Good bet real quick, Jay.
Good bet, bad bet. You want to do it?
Quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, let's pull up the tombstone real quick. Yesterday's bets real quick.
I took
G.
it
Bush
on
and
the
Bull
chin
both went
yesterday.
3-0.
I know.
Jay continues to struggle. So
Yeah.
let's see the overall standings.
I'm at 500 now.
We can drop that.
I'm breaking
Still,
even.
G. Bush in
I
the lead.
like my numbers.
But Bull's coming up. Brad, we're making a little comeback here. So let's get to today's bet. The first one, Guardians favored by 1.5 runs
I
over
don't like
Detroit.
none of
Bieber
these.
on the bump.
Yeah. Where are you guys going?
I'm all bad on
I mean,
that.
I can't lay. I couldn't
bad.
lay. I'm not laying
like
laying
that.
a run with either of those teams' offenses. I'm always going to take the underdog.
I-
if I'm getting a run.
I took it because I think I think that I could be wrong. I think Bieber has an
50-50
unbelievable
chance.
start tonight. I do because he's due for one.
And he might win 1-0.
And he's a pro. I hope he doesn't win 1-0 because it's not good enough for me.
Hey, I took it as a good bet because look, you're playing the Tigers. We got a 50-50 chance here. I mean,
Yeah, we
come
thought
on.
that the last 2 nights.
Yeah.
So we got to hit in Vegas someday. right?
What's our second bet?
Second one, another split here. Will Josh Naylor record an RBI? It was plus 115 on Bovada.
Been the same split on both.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's going to get an RBI tonight.
I
So
would,
do I.
He should have saved some of them
I'm
RBIs
never
in the
gonna, I
earlier
would never
part
bet
of
on
the
a
season.
player getting an RBI that's an average or below player.
No.
For me, if it's essentially even money here.
Yeah, it is, but I just have a feeling.
So,
I like Naylor a
gut
lot.
feeling.
I like the guy a lot. Okay, what's the last
And the third one, will the Celtics close out the Heat tonight? They're favored by 8.5 points at home.
Jay's the loner on this.
Well,
one.
no, I think they will close it out, but
Yeah.
they're not going to win by 8.
That is a big number, but
That's
the
a
Heat are
huge number.
disaster right
Yeah,
now.
it's a huge number.
Offensively, they can't put the ball in the basket right
They
now.
got so many injuries.
This is a heart yardstick game to me. How much heart does Miami have?
Well,
Yeah, well,
I kind of think, I kind of think that Miami makes a stand tonight.
They're going to Game 7?
Right. I think they make a stand tonight. I can't see here.
wait, but you took the
I
Celtics.
took it a good bet because the spread.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I took it.
Eight and
It's
a
a
half.
spread, 8.5. The spread.
Oh, I
it's
see what
gonna,
you're saying.
It's going to be a close game now. I got
Yeah.
Miami winning tonight, but in a close game, right?
Oh, so Brad wants the other.
No,
the
it's a
other
good
bet.
bet. It's a good bet.
No, the
because-
Celtics are favored though. So if you
No,
take,
but
oh.
the spread, the 8.5.
Yeah, I got you.
You see
Okay.
what I'm saying?
I got you.
They're not going to cover the spread,
Yeah.
right?
All right, very good. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the kicker in the 5th round. Is that a good? He's 4th round, right?
Fourth round.
4th round. Yeah, I'm thinking of the Bengals who took McPherson in the 5th the year before.
Yeah.
4th round. You use draft currency on a kicker. Good move, bad move. We'll debate that when the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show comes right back. Stay with us.
Cleveland sports to me is bigger than anything. It's bigger than some people's marriages. They say the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. No. Dallas is not America's team. Cleveland is America's team. And sports in Cleveland is a religion. It's a way of life. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter. Sports is a way for people in Cleveland to get together, and it's something that can't be replicated in Cleveland. Sports is a thing.
Recognize that feeling? It is the feeling of being together, enjoying the company of a familiar face, and sharing moments that matter to you, to me, to us. What matters to some could impact all of us, especially in a place like Northeast Ohio. Here, stories are shared from east to west to south. Stories of perseverance, of family, of love. If a story brings us together, it's what matters most.
News you can trust should be news you can rely on.
And every night at 11 on What's Next, you can rely on us.
A new legal twist for Brown.
Today also marks the beginning of
Odell here, and we are going to continue.
So the Guardians have to play almost. You can rely on us to help you go to bed better informed with stories that prepare you for tomorrow.
And with news that's relevant to your life. We'll make sure that you're ready for what's next.
Because being ready for tomorrow is what matters most.
Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I am a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. I have carried my fandom every city I've ever lived in. People have always asked me, why are you so diehard about Cleveland? It's because I'm from here. And we know how much our teams mean to us. Most of us know that because of our parents. In my case, my father was just a huge Cleveland sports fan. It was really part of our life. It was woven into everything we did. And it was our connection throughout his life. All right, welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It's Friday, guys. It's Friday before holiday weekend, and I should tell everybody right now that enjoy your Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We will. There's no show.
No show Monday.
Yeah, no show Monday.
I feel like we need to talk about, or I know we're on a schedule here, but I feel like we need to talk about what G just said during the
Now
break.
listen,
there,
careful,
you know?
because if you do, it's going to turn into a 10, 15
Well, what are we
minute
talking
conversation.
about here? I don't
Hey,
even
Bull,
remember.
let's save that for
Okay.
a topic. Because
There
I
we
think
go.
we're going to have some NBA people on next week, and
There
that's a
you go.
topic in
Okay,
itself.
all
And we
right.
have too much to get to before DeQuell that if we start that,
All
we
right,
will
I
never
will just
get
lay
to
the
it.
issue out there and then no
mention it.
comment.
Lay
No
it down there. Lay it down. Lay it
But
down,
G.
please.
Bush in the commercial break said, I might have to think about my all-time great NBA list. I think I might have to
If
move.
Steph Curry wins a championship.
If Steph Curry wins a championship, I might have to move Steph Curry up that list. And he threw a name out that he would take off that list.
And we all went nuts.
And replace him with Steph. And
They
we
went crazy.
almost physically accosted him. And
listen.
Bull said, if you say,
I said, if you say he's better than Bird or Magic, we're going to fight. And that fight won't turn out well for me, but we'd have to do it anyway.
I love it.
And Brad Sellers gave G the gas face.
Yeah, I know you did.
Like,
He
what are you
did.
talking about
He
here?
tried to take my basketball card. He said, nah, you exposing yourself now, bro.
So here's the thing. You have a 3-day weekend to,
Yes,
to
prepare.
rethink that.
You better prepare.
Rethink
Do
it.
some homework.
Yeah.
We will do this next week. We have Serena Winters on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So she'd be a great person, the Cavs sideline reporter.
It'd be
great
awesome.
topic for her.
Yeah.
She's young also.
She's
wonder,
probably never seen the player that he's going to drop off his list play
Yeah.
in like
she's, I don't know how old
she's
she is,
young.
but she
She's
seems
very
pretty
young.
young.
She
Yeah.
certainly hasn't seen
Yeah,
this
yeah.
player play,
Yeah.
but I'm sure she knows of his reputation
Yes.
and of his legacy. All right, now we're going to talk about, and I want to point this out. Rankings, I think, are stupid. Whenever you rank teams or players, I think they're stupid because how do you possibly say that Steph is better than the person that you're going to knock off this list, particularly if they don't play against each other and they never have? This argument, though, is fascinating to me because Pro Football Focus, with their rankings, and I love looking at them because they make great fodder.
Yeah.
They actually have OBJ ranked higher than Amari Cooper in their wide receiver rankings. And I don't know exactly.
I was fired up about this, Jay.
Okay, then go.
Because what blew me, listen, I love Pro Football Focus.
Yeah,
all right?
I do
a lot
too.
Of, lot of old school football fans are like, what do they know? Those are a bunch of nerds, blah, 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 blah. All right, now, he's only one spot ahead. I get it. And this is not because Amari Cooper's on the Browns now. And honestly, I think they're both disappointments the last few years.
They have been.
They both, talent-wise, they both should be higher on that list. Odell can't stay on the field. But I would take Amari Cooper over Odell Beckham any day of the week. Now, again, when Odell was in his best, and even last year with the Rams, he was not, like, everybody got crazy. And I know, G, you liked the way he played with the Rams, and I did too. But he still wasn't the guy we saw with the Giants the first couple of years.
Well, he also had the best receiver in football on the other side.
Facts.
Well, statistically the best. I don't think he's the best receiver in football.
I think
but-
he's the best receiver in football.
I think he's the best in
I
football,
don't agree,
too.
but
Okay.
I think statistically he's the best. But he's top five, whatever. He's
Definitely
one
top
of the
five.
Best. One of the best. But Amari, right now, I think Amari Cooper at this point in his career is more skilled than Odell, and I think they're both highly skilled. But I think Amari's more highly skilled. And I just trust Amari Cooper, even though I've been disappointed by him because I think he should be better. I trust him more. He's more often on the field. He's had some injury problems, but not like Odell, who's consistently
He
been
can do
injured.
more, I think.
And he could do more on the field. He's a more reliable target, and I don't have to worry about all the talking off the field. I banged the table for weeks on my radio show because I wanted Odell here. And although I have completely blamed Baker for a lot of the ills, it is absurd to give Odell a complete pass for his time in Cleveland. He didn't play well enough. He didn't really want to be here. And while there's reasons for those things to some degree, he can't get a pass for his time here. He wasn't good enough.
So why would I want to be here if they're not throwing me the ball, right?
Brad,
Hold on. Let me
that's
just
not
finish.
true. That's misleading.
No, it is very true.
No.
It is very true.
Yeah.
I like your eyes. Your eyes are detestable.
Yeah.
The misuse of Odell Beckham here in this town,
Boy.
was criminal.
Misuse by Baker not throwing
I
the
don't
ball
care
or the
who-
offense
Baker,
not.
the offense, the whole nine. The one thing, Amari Cooper, I like Amari Cooper. Solid, right? Solid guy, does a bunch of things. The one thing Amari Cooper is not, he is not a game changer. Beckham is a game
God,
changer.
he used to be.
Beckham, here.
He hasn't been recently, Bull.
Mikey, bring those stats back up. I'm going to show you something. Bring those stats back up.
We got to give us 1 sec, Brad.
All right. When you go back to these stats, Just 2021 stats.
Yeah.
So Cooper has 68 receptions. Beckham has 44. Hell, Beckham didn't get the ball thrown to him half the season.
Is that just his Brown stats?
These numbers.
That's
overall.
No, that's everything.
That's
Everything. That's
overall.
everything.
So he had most of them stats
In LA.
with no training camp, with no offseason, don't know Matt Stafford for nobody.
With a terrific quarterback.
And he came
He
out here.
missed some time last year because of the getting cut.
What did he miss? 2 games? Did he play 15?
I think it was 14.
Are
I'll
you
double
sure
check.
those are his total stats?
You
for the
even
year?
you even making my case for me.
No, I know
two
we
less
are.
games.
Guys, here's the reality, okay?
The reality
is that Odell Beckham's targets were not significantly less than they were with the Giants. His targets, all right? Now, here's the problem. The reason he doesn't have as many catches, A, is because Baker's not as good a quarterback as Dak Prescott. But B, Odell had too many drops.
Hold on,
way too many drops.
Whoa. Listen,
Gee,
go
can't give Odell a pass.
back,
You
go
can't give him a
back,
pass.
and go back and watch on. You go look at the pro football. You look at references. He has 2 drops. 2. People think, when
Wait,
you
all
say
last
stuff,
year he had 2 drops?
2 drops.
I don't know who's counting, but that's wrong.
Hey, that's the thing. Perception is reality.
Yeah.
The perception is Odell.
I saw
don't
him
catch the
drop
ball.
more than 2 balls with the Browns last
listen,
year.
Here's the thing. That's what. Go look at the stats. I can't make it up.
Mikey,
I'm
can
not
you
a
find those?
scorekeeper. Can we get his drops?
Here's the bottom
According
line.
to Pro Football Focus,
Yeah.
he played 13 games between 2 teams.
Yes.
Yeah.
According to Pro Football Focus, 2 drops last year.
Yeah, I just.
The election, and the election, the election was stolen too. I'm playing with.
I challenge that stat.
Gee, come on now. You can't give Odell a pass for his time here.
What do you mean?
You can't give him a complete pass.
Let me-
Did he play well enough?
He probably didn't play as well.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
But let me give you this.
Of course, Baker factored in, but he didn't play well enough here.
I can't find one. I can't find no interviews online. Odell Beckham ain't had no interviews with nobody.
If you look, though, you'll find a tape that his dad put out that was pretty damning.
It was facts. Everything in the tape was facts.
It didn't help his cause here.
But
though.
here's the thing about it.
Sunk the ship.
You know what? Sometimes I tell people, and this is what made it look crazy. And I don't know, whoever in the media came up with this, y'all are great for this.
Okay.
You know, Odell, sometimes Baker just sees Odell as such a big star that he feels the need.
That's ridiculous.
Hold on. Let me get my money off.
Don't ignore those people.
He feels the need to throw them. He's overlooking at him, and so that causes Baker to get confused and scared. He's a grown man. If you can't tell a receiver, listen, I'm the quarterback. I need you to get in line.
Yeah.
I'll throw you the ball when you get the ball, and that's how we rolling.
But
Baker can do that.
The bottom line, but that stuff is nonsense. People that say that are idiots. I'm ignoring those people. Listen, you know that I don't believe in Baker. You know that,
Right.
Okay. Baker takes some of the blame. Stefanski takes some of the blame for Odell.
and Odell does
but
too.
when you don't play well enough,
That's on the player.
you don't get a pass. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not giving anybody a pass. You look at
He
those.
did
You
not
look,
play
you
well
look at those stats that just put up, right?
Yeah.
You can't tell me, right? He is a game changer. There's 2 different breeds, right? There's just 2 different type of players.
He's not a game changer.
Yes, he
I
is
don't
a game
believe that
changer
anymore.
Here,
I think
if
he was.
If you were watching the
first
LA
half.
Rams,
You watched the first half of that Super
He
Bowl.
wasn't a game changer for the LA Rams.
yes,
He
he
played
was.
great in that first half, but his whole time with the Rams, he was not a game
This is
changer.
what here because it was like a crescendo. Every week it got better.
Yep.
Every week it got better.
I watched him play every
week it got better.
Cooper Kupp was still the number 1 receiver on that team.
but
and
I'm
there was
saying
nobody
here,
else.
Odell, the only time I thought he was a game changer was the first half of the
I'm
Super
not
Bowl. That's
denying.
it.
I'm not
That
denying
was
that.
right.
Every week,
So-
Jay, he got better.
Couple of things.
Do not deny that.
Right now, Odell Beckham Jr. is a complimentary receiver. Right now, he's hurt.
Yeah, there's no question.
So the question of if the question
He's
was
not an elite player
who do you
anymore.
want moving forward? That
And
for me
Cooper's
is
2 years
easy.
younger.
That for me is easy. But
Amari
what I will
Cooper.
say is, right now, fact, G. Bush, OBJ is a complimentary receiver.
Yeah,
That's fine.
That's fine.
Amari Cooper is the gem in the crown with
Here?
the Browns.
Here.
With the Browns
But
right now.
So my response to you is this, right? Because he has been moved several times here, and everybody that he's
3.
played for has said the same thing.
Wait.
Good player.
Wait, but
not
Odell's
elite.
played for
not,
three
not
times.
his
No,
list, a good
I'm
player.
talking about Cooper.
No, I'm talking about Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Every team that he's
He's
been
not.
off
he's
of.
only been a
but I'm not-
Cowboy.
I don't think he's elite.
So he's not elite. Let's
but
not make
neither
him
is
elite.
Odell.
No.
Neither is Odell. He's not elite.
We're
You can
asking
take
you-
one guy right now. Who you taking?
If they were both healthy?
No. Wait. In the real
Well,
world
I'm
right
going
now.
to take Cooper now because he's coming off an ACL.
That's why I
And
had a
he's 2
bigger
years younger.
The reason I had the problem
Odell's
with it,
always got an injury.
the reason I had a problem with the rankings is
Yeah.
they do live too much in a fantasy world. I will say that I think PFF is great. I love the rankings. They're fun to look at. But if you ask 32 head coaches right now, do you want Cooper or do you want OBJ? I think the vast majority are going to say, give me Cooper.
Take a healthy guy.
And so that's my thing. I think OBJ can still be a terrific player in this league. However, I don't think he'll ever be the player he
I
wants
just got to
to
say, I'm so frustrated. I feel like in this town, it's Baker's fault or it's Odell's fault, when the reality is obviously they're both to blame.
That's
to
usually
some
the case,
degree.
Bull. That's usually the
This
case.
is what I used to say when the Browns had one garbage quarterback after the next before Baker and his mediocrity. And when DeQuell Jackson played here and all these other guys played here, and the Browns had one crappy, useless quarterback after the next. And the fans would call my show and say, well, how do I know if Colt McCoy's any good or Deshaun Kaiser's any good or this guy or that guy? Because the wide receivers stink. And the bottom line is the great player will perform great no matter who's around.
He'll raise
now,
the
he
level
won't be
of all
as
ships.
great. He won't be as Odell Beckham playing
As a receiver?
What are you talking about?
A receiver can't throw himself the
Josh
ball.
Gordon had 1,700 yards with Brian Hoyer.
Bull, are you serious? The great player will perform great even when the situation
Yes.
no, it's not. Because
I think what Bull was trying to say was the great quarterbacks can throw receivers open and can make bad receivers better than they
Michael
are.
Jordan was great no matter who he was playing with.
McNuggets, where
Right?
DeQuell at? When we get
They're
DeQuell
going to
in
be
here,
better with
DeQuell's
better
on the
talent.
line. If
get him on here. Get DeQuell in here. I want to ask
Josh
you.
Gordon had 1,700 yards with Brian Hoyer at quarterback.
Where DeQuell at?
Hey, you know what? DeQuell's laughing. It looks like he's ready. Steve, can we pull DeQuell up?
Let's
go.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's
Yeah,
hop in.
let's
You
go.
wanna tag
Come on,
yourself
dog.
in. Let's get
Nice
DeQuell on
hat,
here.
nice hat.
I
Love
thought
it,
you had
love it,
a
love it.
I thought you had a Ohio State hat on for a
There you
second.
go.
So I gotta get so
Not Cleveland.
DeQuell. We going right to it. You don't even get no breaks. We right off into this thing. Now, did you have an issue with Odell Beckham and the tape his father put out? We'll start with that.
No, it was the truth. I mean, obviously, as a player, you don't want your family meddling in your professional
business,
life.
right.
But listen, it was. Could anyone argue? I mean, listen, Baker needed to play better. He was a box office talent, and OBJ. He only can be so effective if the offense isn't catered to him and the quarterback isn't getting him the football. So those were two areas that I heard you guys talk, and I agree with a lot of things that you guys said about the whole situation.
Who you
But no
picking?
one brought up the fact that what's that?
Who you picking?
As a player,
Yep,
right
you can
now,
have-
because,
yep.
I mean, different scenario. Right now, because of health, you got to go with Amari Cooper.
But it's
I
always
agree
because
with
of health
Brad.
with Odell.
Right, but I agree with Brad. The difference when you have two guys who are playing the same position, and you have one guy that's box office, that's a difference maker, that's a game changer. I'm going to pick him 9 times out of 10.
That's my Maryland man
and
right
I'm
there.
not saying- not to diminish-
That's a
not to
turf right there.
diminish
Talk
Amari
that turf
Cooper's
talk.
talent. Not to diminish Amari Cooper's talent, but it's something to be said about a game changer.
Yeah.
You know, you can't defend it. You
Didn't
can't prepare
Amari
for
used
it.
to be that
No
guy,
one
He
though?
was
wasn't
going
that
back.
here. DeQuell, he wasn't that here, and you could blame Baker for some of it, but you can't give the wide receiver a complete pass. He didn't play well enough here.
No. I don't give him a complete
No, he
pass.
didn't
He had
pass.
a lot of drops. It was inconsistent, but I think more importantly, the offense didn't cater his skill set.
I agree.
It was Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. It was their show, and it was Baker Mayfield. Let's roll out. Let's get you outside of the pocket. Let's make throws that you need to make, and we don't want you to screw it up. You're not a difference maker for us. Obviously, we're going to lean on our offensive line, the running backs. But in terms of Odell needs to be in a 5-wide set. Similar the success he had with the Rams, that catered his skill set. You need 3-4 receiver sets. Let him use his ability to get open. This old school traditional 2-set running back formations would hit. No, that's not his game.
Hell, we don't use that. We have more tight ends on the field than wide receivers sometimes.
Right.
So, I
right.
mean,
And
so Bull is saying, I think maybe part of the blame needs to be shared. I think it's a three-way problem, and I don't know who's to blame necessarily. Stefanski's system did not fit what OBJ does.
Yeah.
Baker wasn't effective in getting him the ball enough. I think there's enough blame to go around for everyone, but it wasn't a good fit.
Odell got the exact same amount of targets in LA that he got per game in Cleveland. So it wasn't like they threw the ball to him anymore.
Well, I think what they do in LA is just a dynamic offense.
Right.
They get playmakers. Is you have playmakers. You have Cooper Kupp over there, who's the #1 receiver, and when you have talent and you have a scheme that mirrors each other, I think that's why you saw the success of that offense and Odell Beckham having an impact as early as he did, as opposed to his time here with the Browns. Again, it goes back to, we can go back and forth and play that game, but I think when it boils down to it, Kevin Stefanski's offense didn't cater to Odell Beckham's skills. And I think Amari Cooper fits the bill because he is a talented receiver. He's he's coming off of a pretty down year. He didn't have 1,000 yards receiving, but you're not expecting him. Your expectations are tempered a bit with him. You don't think he's going to be that game changer, that difference maker for your team. You think he's going to be a solid, steady pro, make great catches when you need him to. And if he makes a game-changing play, it's more of a surprise than an expectation.
DeQuell, when I ain't play at the level y'all play at, but when I was playing defense, I would look at people offense and be like, oh man, y'all coming out with 3 tight ends? Oh, you letting us off the hook? Why? Well, I'll take all these fullbacks in here. Push come to shove. What are you running, a boo? Push come to shove. You gonna run a setup screen? But when you coming out in 2-3 receivers, you got motion. I got to worry about all this other stuff in front of me, and everything is open. My question to you is, why would Stefanski loves certain personnel? Why is it, do you think, coaches, when they would have a receiver like Odell Beckham Jr., instead of really featuring them, they stick to the tight end thing? Is it because that's just their identity, or is it a lack of confidence in what that person can do?
I think it's a lot of coaches, with my experience in the league, they're stubborn. They're stubborn. They're going to do things the way they're going to do things, regardless of who I have at the tight end position. That's a difference maker. No matter who I have at the receiver position, that's a difference maker. They're going to run that scheme. And I got to give him credit as well, because I feel like we're bashing Kevin Stefanski for a second. He won games the best way he saw fit for this team, and that was to run the ball, to run to set up the pass, because we had a guy on the center that he's a solid guy, but he's not a difference maker. So we need to lean on the guys that are difference makers, Nick Chubb. And, it boils down to this is a great problem to have that he couldn't figure out with Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Njoku, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. This is a great problem most coaches want, but he couldn't figure it out because there's only one football. And unfortunately, things will work out now that you have Deshaun. Now, if Deshaun Watson was here a year ago with Odell Beckham, I don't think he leaves. I think this is a different conversation if you have Deshaun Watson behind the scenes.
Hey, DeQuell, we're looking at some video. I think we may have moved on from it, but we were a second ago looking at video from yesterday. This again is from yesterday's OTA, and I don't know if you've had a chance to look at much of it, but the one thing that really jumps out to me, obviously the ball just comes out of his hand different. Quick decisions, snappy throws, but also this is a luxury to have after watching Baker. He's able to throw the ball down to his receivers. What does that mean? What is it?
Freaking huge thighs.
He's just a massive
He's got
guy.
huge thighs.
What does that mean, DeQuell, that he's able to throw the ball down to receivers?
It's so tight over there.
It's going to give the receiving core and that team just confidence that you can run your routes to the top of your route. He can get you the ball anywhere on the field. It's going to trickle over to the defense, because the defense right now has to defend it. And every day he makes a good throw or does a good catch or there's a big play, he's gaining more trust from his teammates, his coaches. And, the guy's playing for his legacy right now, his livelihood.
Sure.
So he's you're getting his best foot forward. So the fact that he can make those throws, and I'm sure in day one, guys in the receiving room, guys on that offense realize this guy is different. We love Baker. we'll support Baker, but this guy is different and he can help us win.
No doubt. DeQuell, hey, now I was screaming right before you came on about how Josh Gordon had the year 2013. I think that was your last year here, right? Wasn't that your last year?
Yep, 2013.
Yeah, so like he had like almost 1,700. And now I was saying Brian Hoyer, but Brian Hoyer actually didn't play that much that year. He played a few games. But that was like Jason Campbell, Brandon Weeden, right? Like it was, like Jason Campbell,
quarterback,
solid veteran quarterback. Brandon Weeden, I thought he was going to be good. I was an idiot. And Brian, and Josh Gordon had 17, almost. And I think he only played 14 games that year. What a freak Josh Gordon was. But like that's what I'm saying. Like I think when a guy's great, yes, obviously Odell would be better here with Deshaun Watson. I just don't think Odell's ever going to be that player that he was those first couple of years with the Giants because he can't stay healthy.
No, I don't think he will because he's blown his knee out twice, 2 ACLs. The only person I know to come back from 2 ACLs and be somewhat resemble what they were before was Frank Gore. He's a different breed. Yeah, he's a freak.
Yeah.
So you talk about Josh Gordon. I remember being on some of those teams. Like the entire offense was funneled to him. That was it. So he got a lot of targets, more so than most guys around the league. But you're right. He's a difference maker, a game changer, and he is a type of talent that can make anyone around him better. Now, if you want to compare that to Odell Beckham during his time in Cleveland, I don't think it just didn't click for him. It didn't click. His skill set and the scheme just didn't click. And for whatever reason, when you have a guy that's that talented, I'm sure he's behind closed doors like, hey, man, you got to give me the ball. That's why I'm here. That's why you went out and brought me in. I bring a certain eyeballs to the game. I'm a difference maker. I need the ball. And I don't think Baker, Kevin Stefanski, there's a lot of rumblings that we don't know about that probably took place that had a lot to do with him moving.
So I want you to speak to this because you just said something. When you've been around this league, tell these guys what happens when the fit is not right. When you're a square peg in a round hole, and I don't care how much talent you got.
It just doesn't work.
It's awful.
Yeah, it doesn't work out. You don't. Your production is down. You're not able to reach your full potential. And it's great that you bring that up because in many years that I played under a system in Cleveland, I never played behind the line of scrimmage. It was always a cover 2 style defense. I was always dropping back. And if you can ask anyone who ever played with me that was a running back, pass pro is a big deal in the National Football League and during training camp where the running backs are trying to block the linebacker and there's a dummy back there to simulate a quarterback. No one could ever block me. So anytime I did this drill, I made sure I gave 110% so it can change their mindset of, hey, we need to start blitzing this guy because no one can block him. It never changed the thing. And the minute I go to Indy, I have a coordinator who, same deal. He noticed no one could block me. Guess what? I had my best year. I had like 5 sacks that year. More than I ever did in my career. So it does.
The Browns screwed it all up.
Happens all the
Shocking.
time. Happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Because you think these coaches are sometimes the smartest. They're not smart.
Well, but Brad, the coaches in Indy were.
Yeah, but see,
I think a smart coach will look at the personnel. Everybody has a system. Right. Everybody has, I'm a 4-3 or whatever it is, 3-4. But if you have a player with an extraordinary skill set, like yours, like Odell when he was here, I think it's incumbent upon the coaching staff. Somebody on that staff needs to step up and say to Kevin, yo, coach, this guy's a Mercedes and we're using him like a Volkswagen.
Right.
Let's make sure we get him the ball. And that didn't happen here.
I remember a coordinator that I had in Indy. Greg Minuski. He was actually here in Washington for a bit. But I remember him saying vividly during the team meeting, because we had Robert Mathis, who will be in the Hall of Fame of pass rushers.
Yep.
And he told the entire team, listen, this guy is not dropping in coverage. If he drops in coverage, I don't have a job. Clear as day. So, so you have to, you're right, that you have to identify someone with a unique skill set and you have to employ them.
And I heard that reminds me of Greg Williams just saying out loud, infamously, Myles Garrett can't do swim moves. I said,
Greg Williams is an idiot.
I said, how you gonna tell Myles Garrett He can't. That's like telling Jordan, no fadeaways. What you mean? No pump. Telling Kobe, no pump fakes and pivots. That's what he do. How would you handcuff one of the best players that's the number one overall pick and is a freak?
Because I honestly believe Greg Williams
it happens a lot often. It happens a lot often, and I've had many coaches from my own personal experience just try to. I played the game with a feel and just this football IQ, and I felt the game. And a lot of times I've had a lot of coaches, well, why'd you do this or why'd you do that? Well, I made the play, well, I knew what I was doing, but no, I want you to do it my way. And it wasn't until the back nine of my career, I had to go to the head coach. I'm like, listen, this guy's trying to turn me into a robot. That's not why I was brought here. I want to play loose. I want to play free, but play within the system. And some guys are able to do it, but I was mature enough to go have an intelligent, mature adult conversation with leadership. And was like, and we made it work. So a lot of times players get caught up in systems where the only way you know how to deal with it is to blast it on social media or have your dad say something as opposed to an offense.
It's a bad logo.
Hey, DeQuell, I want to kind of switch gears a little bit here and get to Deshaun Watson, because we all know with the HBO special that came out this week, there's been so much talk about this. My feeling from never being in a locker room is that the majority of the players either don't care, or even if they care about what may have happened, it doesn't matter. We're playing football. He's my teammate. That's it. Is that actually the case? You think?
Well, when you're in the building, you try to keep the outside noise. And every culture, every organization I played for, that's been the common, language. Whatever happens outside will happen outside. When we're in the building here, it's a laser focus on getting our job done because we have a huge task. So guys are able to compartmentalize what's going on, but obviously you want to know if he's a good guy or not. Regardless of whether or not you can play the game, if you realize he's this a-hole over here, it's like, you know what? I'm not going to really play for him. I'm not going to advocate for him. But he seems like a nice guy from, when we talk about pure football, but, to take guys on a trip to Bahamas, that was a great gesture. And I'm sure he's trying to feel his way out. But for the most part, guys in the locker room, as long as you can play, then you can ignore a lot of different things on the outside.
Yeah, that is the reality of it. We'll see if it has any impact at all on the locker room and the chemistry and everything moving forward. DeQuell, we're going to have a debate right now about drafting a kicker in the 4th round. So the Browns had their eyes on Cade York from LSU. They weren't sure if he was going to be around in the 5th round, so they just went ahead and took the kicker with the 4th round. It addresses a major need because, as you know, without Dawson in a Browns uniform, this team has struggled mightily, just like they had to find a quarterback to get that position right. Do you think that's too high to take a kicker? I love that. I saw it. That is great. Do you think it's too high to take a kicker, or did they do the right thing by knowing they had a need, knowing there was a player there that could fill that need, and not knowing if he was going to be there in the next round, so they just took him?
Yeah, when I saw him make that pick, I thought it was a luxury pick. I do like the pick, and I'll tell you why. If it was the Indianapolis Colts making this pick, I would say that's an idiotic move because you play in the Dome 8 games out of the year, and you don't have to really deal with really extreme conditions when in late November, late October, when you're trying to position yourself for a playoff position. It does make sense here, and I do like the pick. I've been fortunate to play with some really, really great kickers, Adam Vinatieri in Indianapolis, and you realize just how, unique their ability is. And I think I love the pick. I really do. When you look at the AFC North and you look at the weather conditions, you look at kicking in Pittsburgh, you need a guy that's above average. Again, 4th round, I think it's a bit high, but I do appreciate them actually pulling that trigger. And listen, I think it's a luxury pick. They really have it shows me they really have a lot of confidence in the roster they built to go out and draft a kicker in such a high round.
And that might be the missing link. Bull, you like it?
Well, go ahead. You jump in.
Well, here's the thing. For me, we done all been broke before, right? You get one of them cars, you get your little job, you ain't got no transportation, you on the bus. You like, okay, well, listen, I need to go get me a car. You go over to one of the local car lots And they say, well, you don't ask them about that one over there. They tell you what you can afford, right? This is what the bank gonna give you. And so you may look at it and say, well, that interest rate at 27%, that's kind of high. But if you're going to give it to me and I can take it home, like, I got to get to work. See, when you need something and you got to have something, you ain't got no time to be quibbling about the interest rate or how much down. You need transportation. This is going to get it done. I can be at work tomorrow. Thank you. Very good. The Browns need a kicker. It may be a little pricey at 4th round, but we had it, we gonna pay it, and we good.
I love that analogy.
His analogies are so good. I'll see where he's going with the 27% interest rate.
I love the analogy, but here's what I'd say. Name me a kicker drafted higher than the 5th round that's ever been worth the draft pick.
And the card might not be worth it.
Wait. You don't like your guy?
I'm saying drafted higher than the 5th round.
He was drafted in the 5th round.
Well, I'm saying before the 5th round. If you look at all the guys that have been drafted in the last decade before the 5th round, they've all been disappointments.
Where was Vinatieri drafted?
Not before the 5th round.
I don't believe he was
that was a
drafted.
long time ago anyway.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
they drafted all. Look at. They drafted Austin. Like most of these kickers. Mike Nugent was drafted in the 2nd round, which is absurd. He was an okay
What about
kicker.
Janikowski was a first-round pick.
Who was?
Janikowski.
Yeah, great kicker, but not worth a first-round pick.
let me tell you something.
But here's the thing. In the end, if Gay is good, then fine, whatever. I think drafting in the 4th round is an overcorrection to the Bengals getting McPherson last year. I think that's a little bit of a panic move. I'll give Berry, because I like Berry a lot, I'll give him some benefit of the doubt here that he thought he was going to go. So, okay, but you better get it right. And, by the way, you haven't solved the kicker issue until just because you draft.
No.
This always drives me crazy. When people draft, it's like, well, we solved our problem.
Now, we don't know
the guy
that
you're
yet.
replacing him, the guy who's being replaced, you thought that guy solved the problem.
Yeah.
So until the guy plays good football in the NFL, whatever position, you didn't replace the guy.
Brad, what do you think?
And I say this, if you're building a championship Super Bowl team, if you think you have a Super Bowl team, you have to have all the pieces. Kicking was just off the chart. I mean, it was like one of the glaring weaknesses that we had. You have to fill the hole, right?
Yeah.
And so they saw a chance to get a person that could fill a void for them. I don't have any problem with them reaching up to get somebody in the 4th round, right? I don't. If that person can deliver what I need to be done, because you get down the stretch, kicking is a major play out here.
Listen, it's called football, and it decides too many games. But that's the rule.
Right.
Can anybody name the kicker for the Super Bowl champion Rams?
No matter.
No, I don't.
Matt
but-
Gay.
No
yeah,
matter.
good job, Matt
He's a
Gay.
fantasy kicker.
Yeah, but here's
He was a 5th round pick.
So
he was a 5th round pick.
You can bring a million examples
Yeah.
all you want.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, your Bengals were in the Super Bowl last year because you addressed your need at kicker and you got a great one. People will forget where that player was drafted in 3 years. They're not going to look back and say, oh, my God, he was a 4th rounder. This is the point that I want to make right here. I asked them to build this graphic for a reason.
Get my money off.
And DeQuell went to this, okay? You're in a division that has the best kicker ever to do it, perhaps, in Justin Tucker. You've got Chris Boswell with the Steelers, a top-flight kicker. Evan McPherson, guys, in 1 year, Evan McPherson broke postseason kicking playoff records.
Yes.
He was 14 of 14 in playoff games. That is a new record. And the 14 makes ties Adam Vinatieri for the most makes in a postseason. Bull, you know this as well as anyone because they're your team.
Yeah.
He won games for the Bengals
He's
that
great.
if he didn't make those kicks,
I'm glad they used
don't
the draft
go to
pick
the
on him.
Super Bowl.
I'm glad.
So,
yeah.
the reason I'm saying that this was a good pick, and history will tell us whether or not this was a good pick. But in the here and now, they had a glaring need for a kicker. And I think that the stats that jumped out most to me, first of all, I love the fact that he kicked at a school where there were high-pressure kicks.
Yeah.
He won a national championship.
Yeah.
He played in huge games, and he was trotted out there to make kicks that were make-or-break kicks.
Yeah.
In fact, he beat Florida and your guy, McPherson, with like a 52-yarder in the fog. That was one of the great kicks I've seen in college football history.
Yeah.
Couldn't even see the uprights. The numbers that really jumped out at me about Cade York, and DeQuell, this is, I think, what really changes the game. He was 15 of 19 on kicks greater than 50 yards.
Yeah.
I just think it brings so many more scoring opportunities to a team when you've got a guy that you can throw out there and not hope that he makes it, but you've got numbers that can say he should make this kick.
I hear you. I will say in the end, I'm fine with it. I'm not that angry about it. They better be right about it if you're going to use that high a pick on a kicker.
Especially
Don't
because
get
they
it
missed
wrong.
on Gonzalez.
And the truth is, you showed that
And
graphic.
Siebert.
Bring up the graphic of the 4 kickers again. Justin Tucker and Chris Boswell, both undrafted.
Listen,
Both undrafted.
I
I'm just
think that's
saying, just because you need a kicker doesn't mean you need him in the 4th round.
I
Yeah,
know.
but it's so hard to find. So hard to find a kicker. Everyone, every
is.
training camp, any training camp that I've ever been to, you've always had a slew of kickers to try out, and they present to be good 1 minute, and then they can't kick in the real when the real bullets are flying. So the fact that you have a chance to go grab a kicker that most people don't really, it's hard. They're hard to find. They're really hard to find.
It's a copycat league.
You have to pull the trigger.
You're right, Jay, though. In the end, if he's good, nobody's going to care.
Nobody's going to care. And I think it is a copycat league.
Yeah.
And last year, because the Bengals
No doubt
went
that factored
highly,
in.
I think
Yes.
that probably did
Yes.
force the Browns' hand a little bit.
yes.
Because they're projecting, where are the teams that need kickers?
Right.
Have they already addressed the other needs that they have in the draft, in
Yes.
this draft? And if so, they made the calculated decision that he might
Yes.
not be here in the 5th round. So they went ahead and they took him. DeQuell, we can cap this debate with one question. Are kickers football players?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow, I didn't think you'd say that.
I got.
Listen, I have a special love for my kicker. I have a framed jersey of Phil Dawson over here, and I have cleats from Adam Vinatieri when he became the all-time scoring champion. So absolutely,
Wow,
yes,
that's pretty cool.
What about punters?
I got a couple things for you.
All right.
How many times did the Browns come up empty on 4th down? Right.
A lot.
And I wish that sometimes we had just kicked the ball
Take the
and
points.
take the points. Right?
But
Oh, my God.
I know, but listen, there was a reason they didn't. If they
Here.
felt the kicker was going to definitely make the kick, they would have taken
Exactly.
the
You had
points.
another option. But I'm gonna go to something else. G. Bush and I were talking about it early in the pre meeting here.
Yeah.
DeQuell, what do you think about Stefanski putting that hoop out there on the field? Right?
Yeah.
For the
I
ball.
love it.
Oh, that
I
was beautiful.
love it.
That was beautiful.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Because all football players think they could have played in the NBA at some point. Even me, I'm one of those people. I thought I was a much better basketball player than a football player growing up. And I've lost a lot of money, not even with a basketball hoop, but a trash can with my tape for my shoes.
Right.
So absolutely, I love that. It breaks
I thought
it
it
up.
was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant. Right?
Did you dunk?
DeQuell,
Did you
quickly.
dunk, DeQuell?
Yeah, I can't dunk anymore, but I used to.
Hey, DeQuell,
I'm done.
ask Brad Sellers. DeQuell, ask Brad what happened when the Ohio State football players, some of the Ohio State football players, challenged the Ohio State basketball team to a pickup game. Go ahead and ask them.
Oh man! So
DeQuell,
please tell me
I
what.
gotta tell you. So we're in study table, right? And so the basketball players and the football players are arguing. So this who was at Ohio State with me when I was at Ohio State. Chris Carter, Keith Byers, Pepper Johnson, Thad Jemison.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, we had some players, right? And these were some.
Oh, my goodness.
So they were from great Ohio high schools. They were great hooping high school teams, right? So we get in the thing and they started talking about it, right? I said, I started running my mouth. I said, well, come on, I'm the All Big Ten player. Shut up, don't be talking to me like that. Meet me at the Jesse Owens Rec Center across the way. We're gonna put some money up on this thing. So Ohio State basketball
money
players,
involved.
and then we put the Ohio State football players in the thing, and it drew a crowd. I forgot to tell you that it was a crowd.
You could have sold tickets.
It was a
Wow,
crowd.
so now
Right.
the pressure's on.
It was a crowd.
Yeah.
Now, DeQuell, what I did not know, what happened was, the basketball players got popped.
Wow. Are you serious?
Listen, I didn't know Chris Carter could hoop like that. I read it in the magazine,
Really?
but I never saw it. And then Keith
Really?
Byers
Oh,
played for, they won a state championship down in Dayton, right? And he and Pepper Johnson bringing that wood to you every day, right? And I was like this. DeQuell, I was like this. Why y'all don't come over here and play with me in the wintertime?
Hey, DeQuell, your reaction was the same as ours. We were thunderstruck
Stunned.
when he said that the football team whipped their ass.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I appreciate. That's probably the only story I've ever heard of football players beating basketball players
Yeah.
on the court. I had that same moment in college. We tried, the guys that thought they could play on the football team, we challenged their starting 5 at Maryland. We got ran out the gym. Let me tell you that. It wasn't even close.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, Chris Carter and Keith Byers will not let me live that down to today. right? If I get
I
on,
would never let you
Twitter,
live it down.
they'd be like,
Yeah, that's
I said Chris Carter came here and hosted the Cleveland Sports Award one day, and he was on the stage. He said, I was talking to him before, and he said, "Oh, my man's Brad is out there. Let me tell you this story."
That story's never going to die. Passing it down to the grandkids.
Well, DeQuell, when he comes
That's a
back
great
in, it'll be
story.
the second time a football player loses to a basketball player in his career. So I'm still taking the win in that.
Oh, see, okay. You think
man.
so? You think so?
Oh,
You better practice. You better practice.
Mike, you're talking a lot of junk, man.
Make sure with my offhand.
Hey, it's a lefty on lefty battle then. Let's do it.
Yeah, McNuggets is a lefty. I should let you know that. Are we going to do top 5?
G.
Wait,
Bush
G.
has
Bush has something
something
he's
first,
been
then we're
dying
doing
to
top
say.
Well, now I got to rephrase it a little bit now. So, by the way, you guys can get in on the comment section on this. This is a shop talk conversation. This is what guys talk about in the barbershop. And so this question, it goes to all the panel. I'll start off with you, Mr. Jackson.
Okay.
How much, we all know that when you're in a committed relationship, you all know when you get married, there's certain restraints on you.
Expectations.
I'm gonna ask this question.
Yeah, I was like, where's
What is the amount of money you can spend without notifying your significant other, spouse, or wife?
Oh, wow, that's a good one.
Before she'd be like,
that's
whoa, hey, we didn't talk about that. We didn't have that conversation. And this for everybody. We'll go down the line here.
All right.
I thought I started with Mr. Jackson
That's a
first.
tough question.
Go ahead.
Woo, that's tough. Oh,
You better
man.
not get that wrong, DeQuell.
Right. Let's say this. We keep close eyes on all of our finances. So if I spend more than $500, it's definitely better be in good reason.
5, yeah,
Definitely good reason.
okay.
And I'm pushing it a little bit.
It might actually be 350. It might be 350.
Yeah, that's
Go ahead.
There's a gray area in there.
She said, "I see a transaction here. What is this transaction?"
Bull, what's your number?
I'd say it's probably around the same. I mean, the only time I'm spending, DeQuell Jackson's made a lot more money in his career than I have. So the only time I'm spending $500 or more on something would be like we're buying a house or we're buying a car or maybe a TV. My wife's involved in any decision like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
what else? I don't spend for this show, believe it or not, even though I'm not that nice a dresser, I spent about $1,000 on to have
I think you look
clothes.
great. Well, no,
thank you.
don't-
Thank you. Thank you. I spent $1,000, but I told my wife, and she's totally supportive. I'm
Sure.
like, I got to go out and buy some clothes. I'm
Right.
going to be on TV.
Yeah. Wait, now before we go any further,
Yeah.
Mikey McNuggets is killing us
Go ahead,
because
Mike.
this segment is sponsored. He didn't get to do the
yeah, we
read.
gotta read the
No,
So
this is a great question, and we're going to get some internet comments. But DeQuell, we are now a sponsored show. You're going to get 2 sponsored ad reads during your hit here. This question is brought to you by PCC Airfoils. Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Whitecliff, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 an hour. Plus, get a full benefit package, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
Awesome. Yes.
18 or
Mikey
hour?
finally pronouncing the name correct of all the towns.
Yes, after
He's
day
finally
3.
getting it
On
right.
day 3, he's got it right.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get Mr. Brad.
Yeah,
Let's
Brad.
talk to him.
Well, you don't want to talk to me.
Please, I need everyone to answer.
Well, here, I'm going to give you this. Let me tell you something, DeQuell. Your boy here over here is divorced.
Wait a second.
I don't remember when I was married. That was a long time ago.
Okay, so wait a minute. Let me ask you this.
So I walk in now, I think I'm going to drop this on this right now, right? Those external pressures I don't have.
Yeah, but I got a better
They're
one.
gone.
They're
Brad,
gone.
your number.
I'm foggy on the rest.
Your number might be the biggest of all because Brad's the mayor.
Right.
How much can you spend before you get city council's approval?
$25,000.
There
I
it is.
told you.
Yeah.
That's a mic drop.
Yeah.
That's a mic drop.
Now, his budget.
$25,000.
25,000.
Now,
That's my number.
Yeah, so you got the 25,000.
If I'm going to spend $24,999,
Yeah.
wifey doesn't have to know about it.
Wow.
I'm kidding. Bull, I'm you, bro. I'm you, Bull. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
In my relationship, I've been married to my bride for 35 years.
Yeah.
She's the love of my
35
life.
years.
35 years.
Clap for that.
Wonderful,
Really good.
blissful years.
Yeah.
Show off.
Yeah.
The reason it's worked is
Yeah.
because she is in this relationship every bit my equal on everything.
Yeah.
Decisions about career. Where are we going to take this job? Are we going to move here? House we're going to buy, cars we're going to drive, how we raised our kids,
100%.
how we spend our money. I don't spend money. I really do not spend money.
Yeah.
I will say something out loud. I love that pair of shoes. Or, I'd really like to have this. And it's unbelievable. I'm married to the greatest woman in the world. Within 2 days, it shows up in my house from Amazon.
Yeah.
She's so attentive. She hears me say things, and she knows that I really don't buy things for myself. I don't. But all I have to do is mention out loud I want something, and it shows up.
So I say that to say this. What's your limit?
It is a team. Wait, what was that?
I say that to say this. What's your limit, dog?
That was nice.
That was nice. That was a charity speech.
Jay, after you answer this question, I have a story for that because my wife did the same thing for me.
Isn't that
years
awesome?
ago? Let me explain. So years ago, before I signed my 5-year contract in Cleveland, I'd always talked about buying a Bentley. I want a white Bentley. I want this Bentley. I signed my contract, and guess what shows up at the house?
Oh,
a white Bentley, but a toy white Bentley. not the oversized. No, the toy white Bentley.
Here go your white Bentley.
I gave her a big hug. I'm like, you know what? In my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna marry you one day.
You know what, DeQuell? I think that's a great story, and here's why. She's the brains behind the operation. I want to buy, like, I want big things, but she talks me out of it. She's like, do you really need that?
Yeah.
And it sounds like your wife is practically smart.
You gotta have somebody like that.
And,
Yes.
Did you need the white Bentley? No, you always wanted it? Well, now you have one. It's just not the one you wanted.
Yeah, right.
And I have it upstairs somewhere.
What about you, G?
Well, listen.
And your wife is newer. Your wife is newer to America, so does that factor in at all?
Oh, so no. My wife is an accountant by trade.
Oh, so she's on
yeah.
top of it.
But
So
here's
you're
the
not
thing.
spending anything.
Here's the thing. I could tell you that we wouldn't want to do the first marriage or the second one. Which I want.
Both.
All right, the first marriage. Listen, man, I would come back to the spot. And she'd be like, "There's an unusual ATM fee."
Transaction.
I was like, "What you mean unusual? Somebody went to eBay and bought some stuff." She's like, "No, it's $3. It said you took it out of the foreign ATM."
$3?
I was like, "Listen."
That led to the divorce.
Yeah.
I said there's a couple of things we're not gonna talk about. One is taxes because I gotta pay them. 2, being black because I'm always gonna stay black. I have no choice. I can't do the Michael Jackson. And 3, I'm not talking about 4 ATM charges. Like, yo, I'm one of the people that just be swiping on accident. If I'm only buying food and it's gas, I'll go to the gas station and get gas and be like, well, I saw this, I saw that. I just got I come back with a big bag of stuff. I said, but I ain't buying nothing crazy. My limit now is. So shout out to my new wife. She's a darling.
Is there a number in this?
I do got a number in this.
Okay.
Long story short,
$2.
That if I have to sign or finance anything, that's a conversation. Yeah. Like if it's payments involved, like we're gonna send no bill
that's fair.
every month.
That's fair.
Yeah. You ain't no signing on. Like if it costs you to finance it, if you ain't got it on deck, and as long as all the bills is paid, I don't really got a limit like that. So.
All right.
You see how it works?
No,
I think that will work.
Is that first or second?
First it was like 50, and I said, "Oh no, we can't have this."
That's why she's the former wife.
50.
DeQuell, do you have a second to stay on and do the top 5 with us?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, Mikey McNuggets, it's all yours. What is
beautiful.
it today?
So this was actually inspired by Roundstone, which Anthony, great switch. Roundstone, presenter of the Ultimate 5. Roundstone offers a better alternative for affordable quality health care. For more than a decade, Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money up to 20%. Contact us today to learn how you can get great health care benefits that your employees will love and save money too. So I say this all with this caveat.
All right.
Okay.
I think me and DeQuell are friends now.
I think
he watched the whole show last week. He texted us. He called me after the show. He wanted to know the inside joke we were going on, which we're not going to say.
Yeah.
So I have a theory that I've always wanted to present to an NFL player. So, DeQuell, I need your opinion on this. Then I'll tell you my top 5 because they're related. I have a theory that all defensive players play defense because they weren't necessarily skilled enough to play offense. Like DBs,
why would he agree with that?
Catch.
You just killed your friendship with DeQuell.
Your friendship with but DeQuell, like, am I wrong?
You're absolutely wrong. Some of the best athletes are defensive backs and linebackers. We can play. Listen, we're just not fast enough to be running backs, but we can take a hit. We can deliver a hit. and we can catch and do all those good things. So that is a absolute rumor, not true. These guys are just as athletic and all that good stuff. So no,
They just
you're
have
absolutely
different
wrong.
skill sets, right? It's different skill sets, not a better or worse.
I wasn't saying they're not athletic.
Yes,
but
you
I just
were.
think every DB wants to be a
No,
receiver.
you
they
were
just can't
saying that.
catch.
That's what we heard.
Here's what
You would definitely. You know what? This is going to be personal when I beat you in this shooting.
I thought you were going to say beat.
DeQuell, here's what I heard.
Beat is what?
DeQuell, what I heard was you played defense because you weren't good enough to play offense. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of take
That's
is
what
that?
I heard.
It was a
See?
question. It was something I always wanted to ask. Now I have an
It
answer.
wasn't a question. It was
But
a
what
theory that you
defensive-
had.
What
Cloud did he go to again?
Yeah, right. What defensive player would ever say, yeah, you're probably
You're right. Yeah, I wanted to be a running back, but I wasn't good
Jay,
enough.
what college is he going to again?
I know. Did you get a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree?
That was a very easy.
Tenders
Yeah.
University.
Get this out of here.
Yeah.
That's a
Mikey
Tenders
McNuggets
moment.
is known as Tenders for the next 5 minutes on this show.
All right, so
Young
with,
buck.
with this in mind, then this list was the 5 coolest positions in sports.
All right.
All right.
So we're gonna
wow.
start with number 5,
Come on.
goalies. Do you guys recognize that picture by any chance on the
that you?
panel? Do you guys recognize
That's
that?
Anthony.
Yeah,
That's
that is
Anthony.
young Anthony.
All right, that's associate producer
Goalie,
Anthony
yeah, all right.
as a goalie.
That's
Is that a
terrible.
cool position?
I was thinking
though?
more hockey goalie, to be honest. They have the
That's
swag.
terrible.
The helmets are all decked out.
No,
He
I
wants
like
soccer goalie,
I
but-
like that soccer goalie because that soccer goalie athletic. I mean, if you watch the big boys
Yeah.
play,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
all
no.
you athletic.
At the highest level, they're
I'm trying
sick.
to score. I ain't trying to sit here and
We
block
need,
all
by the
that.
way,
No, you
the list
athletic.
we need next week is list we need next week is top 5 coolest athletes of all time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
DeQuell, next
Okay.
Friday, that's the
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
We got that.
Okay, I'm the way I answer the question of coolest, like chicks dig the long ball.
Right.
So I'm gonna I want to say, like, if you're talking coolest, I'm thinking which position gets the most chicks.
Yeah.
Goalie isn't in my
Goalie doesn't
top
get any
50.
chicks. They're
Ever.
smelly,
Have
they're
you
gross.
seen Henrik Lundqvist's list of girlfriends? Yeah.
Oh, that's a great.
You may wanna,
no, listen,
you may
no,
wanna
that
go
is
back.
a
Yeah.
great point.
Dude,
but
every athlete
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
great
yeah.
girls.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
I've never. I don't know that. I've heard a lot of
that's
women
not true.
say,
That's not
"I'm
true.
going after that goal."
Yeah, that's true.
That's like saying, "I'm going after that center."
Wait a second.
I want that center.
I've seen A-ball minor league baseball players who were never going to the majors get hot chicks.
Because they're Major League Baseball players.
But they're minor league players.
Oh, I thought you said Major.
Yeah.
Well, there's a chance. All right,
All right,
so
let's keep going.
Go.
Number 4, quarterbacks. And that is
How's that
four
number
because,
one?
hold
How is
on.
that number 4?
Because there are some elite, cool quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, the list goes on and on. But for every one of those, there's a Daniel Jones, and there's an Eli Manning.
And
there's some
everybody
not
still knows
cool
who they are.
quarterbacks.
Oh.
Everybody
Right.
in New York knows who Daniel
We're
Jones
gonna
is,
take-
even if he was
That
garbage.
should be number 1. I don't agree with this.
See, I'm with D on this.
Quarterbacks.
DeQuell, we're going to have to take his card here.
Yeah, I know.
We get real close to us taking a card
about
here.
to.
Yeah, we're about to take his
McNuggets,
card.
this is horrible so far.
And there's just there are
Yeah.
other positions that have a higher cool hit
Well,
rate.
let's see what you got.
Let's see
All
what
right,
you
number
got.
3, point guards.
Okay, please.
It's the one in basketball you want to be. Allen Iverson, Steph
That's a
Curry. They
good
got
one.
the most swag.
I don't
they
got a
the cool
part. I don't
shoes.
got a problem with that.
I don't.
That might. Yeah, I'm good
What's
with point
cooler
guards.
than a
Point guards
quarterback
are
and a
cool.
point guard?
Say it again,
Right?
Joel?
Exactly.
What's cooler than a quarterback and a point guard? I feel like those will be 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I need
I
to
just
see
feel like
what.
there are some quarterbacks that don't have the swag level to make it as cool as the first
No,
three. on
he's
my
saying.
list.
He's
Well,
saying
whatever
he's saying
position
what's
you
your
give
next
us,
two.
whatever position you
He
give
said,
us is
'cause you
number
already
one.
played- he said you already played your best hand, right? So what else can beat them?
Yeah. What do
I
you
got a
got?
football position at number 1. We're getting to that next.
If
I
this
know
was
where you- I
spades,
know
you
where
ain't
you're
got no more trump cards.
Right, you ain't holding nothing.
None.
You're down to 4 hearts.
What's number 2?
You ain't clubs.
Number 2, shortstop. It is
Yeah.
a position everyone wants to play
Has to
growing
be.
up.
Yep.
Bull, I'm sure your
Yeah,
best
yeah.
player
I'm
plays
with you on shortstop. I wouldn't put it ahead of point. I think right now I would add quarterbacks 1, point guards 2, shortstop 3. That's
Boom.
what I would
There it
That's
is.
it. That's it.
There it is.
Agreed.
I will. Let's
Agreed.
go to number 1 real
Wait,
quick.
before you give number 1, I want to. Oh, you're too late. I was going to ask DeQuell to guess where you were going to go.
Wide receivers are cool.
They have first of all,
I
that's
mean, I
a
give
terrible
them that.
picture, Anthony. Of all the pictures you could have picked, you have Justin Jefferson dropping a ball. Anthony doing me dirty from the inside on that. Let's pull up the full list here, Steve. But there's no not cool receivers. They all have swag. They got the armbands, the extra wrist guard. I don't know. They just ooze swag.
They get
They're
a lot of
cool.
There
girls.
any non-cool wide? Who's not cool
Yeah.
that's a wide receiver?
Daniel Jones. Oh, cool.
No, wide receiver. He makes a good argument. Wide receivers are pretty cool. He's talking me into it.
Adam
What's your-
Thielen is not really what you call cool.
Come on.
He's not the epitome
You
of
can't name the
cool.
one white guy and make him not cool.
Cooper Cup is super cool. Like,
Cooper
he's
Kupp
the,
is super
he has,
dope.
yeah.
DeQuell wanted to say something. Go ahead,
McTenders, what's
DeQuell.
your criteria? What's your criteria on this?
Before I answer that, we got a McTenders. He's combined 2 now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to add that to the list.
Did he say McTenders? He called you
We gotta
McTenders?
write that down.
Well, 'cause
Steve.
I
Write
said-
down
You're tenders
McTenders.
right now. You're
I
tenders.
said for the
You're
next
tenders.
5 minutes, you're
The
tenders
bottom.
because Stevie, the director, is calling you tenders.
I'm good with wide receivers on the list. It shouldn't be one. Let's face it, the coolest player in the NFL right now is Joe Burrow. That's it. He's
Well,
the
I didn't want to
coolest
put
player.
Joe Burrow on this list in Cleveland. I feel like that would have turned into a very.
And he's not the coolest,
Tough.
but
Well, don't you think Joe Burrow's the coolest player in the NFL right now? No.
Is he the coolest player in the NFL? No, I gotta go with a receiver though. I gotta go with my buddy from Buffalo,
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs.
Diggs. Yeah, Diggs got swag.
Maryland man.
He's got major swag.
Maryland man.
Wait, so real quick, you guys just roasted me for that list, but you asked Quell what's the coolest dude in the NFL. He said a receiver. So
That's true. He did.
McTenders back to McNuggets. Point me.
It's not
Yeah,
bad
but
wide
you know
receiver.
what?
Yeah,
Like,
but quarterback. So my theory with the quarterback, you can probably name all 32 quarterbacks. Can you name all, receivers in the league? You just
96.
can't do it. Those guys are just come with fame, and everyone wants to be a quarterback and all that good stuff. So I think quarterback definitely, but receiver has more swag.
I
They
think the
definitely have
coolest
more swag.
athlete of all time was probably Joe Namath. I just
Oh,
thought,
Cooler
no.
than Ken Griffey?
yeah.
I'll
I
take
just
Ken
thought
Griffey over anyone.
Joe, because Joe was so
No,
far
wait a
before
second.
Ken
Wait a
Griffey.
second. Wait a second. Ken Griffey. It's either Ken Griffey or Bo Jackson.
Bo was
what?
cool.
I-
Bo's
the coolest
personality.
player of all time.
Bo's personality was
Prime time.
different though.
I'll go say
It's
Dion.
Dion.
I'll go say Dion.
Yeah, Deion's got to be.
Deion's the greatest.
Yeah.
I don't want you to confuse coolness with swag though.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
Like I just thought.
Dion had both.
Just close your eyes. You
Yeah.
can still see this picture.
Yeah.
Joe sitting around in a fur coat and the black
He
shades,
played against plumbers and
predicting
farmers.
that the Jets were going to win the Super Bowl.
This is controversial, but I'm going to say this. Deshaun Watson is cool. You know why Deshaun Watson is cool? Is you saw it the other day, DeQuell. He's handing out rollies. Now, as a linebacker, what do you think about the asking price? I felt like that was big time. Would you have gave the 52 up for a rollie?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can take it. You can take it. Give me the Rolex.
Yeah, so if Ray Lewis came to Cleveland and said, I want 52, you're giving it up for the Rolex.
You know what? I would have given it up for a Pro Bowl seat. How about that?
How about that? And I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna go back to your cool athlete, right?
Yeah, who's yours?
Not a coolest athlete here. Jordan is the coolest athlete.
Oh yeah, that's
Jordan has to be cool now.
He ain't paying for nothing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Nothing, right? And he'll walk
Mm.
into the building, and the epitome of cool will come. You should see the people that gravitate towards this man.
I know, it's insane.
It's insane.
Wherever he goes.
It's insane.
Steve, our executive producer, has a good one too. Muhammad Ali.
Yeah,
Oh,
Muhammad
no,
Ali.
That's
was-
nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, before
that's
his time.
nice.
I
That's
thought
nice.
he had the best personality
Oh,
of
yeah,
any
yeah.
athlete, for sure.
Scariest athlete ever. Albert Bell or Mike Tyson?
Tyson.
Oh,
Tyson in his
Tyson.
prime.
Tyson by far.
Tyson.
I'm glad DeQuell agrees.
I thought Phil Taylor was pretty scary.
Well, let's see what the internet is saying about this stuff.
Come on.
Warren Ash says Ken Griffey quit on the Mariners after he had to come back, get in his car, went home during the season. What a bozo. All right, guess we don't got no Ken Griffey
That
Jr.
guy
people.
wait, he called Ken Griffey a bozo?
Yeah, Ken Griffey's a
Now,
bozo.
if
player.
you think Ken Griffey Jr. is a bozo, you're a bozo. Get out of here.
Let's see. Mink coat and fair faucet for Joe Namath. I don't know what that really means.
That's how cool he was.
Yeah, okay.
He wore the mink coat. You can see him in that big fur coat.
Joe
It's
Namath
a
would
very
be Baker
famous
Mayfield
picture.
now.
Yeah.
Somebody says, can you imagine?
Coyote on.
Somebody says, Mick the dog says, can you imagine having a conversation with Cooper or Chubb? Crickets.
Yeah. True. We got to let DeQuell go because we've kept him past his time.
Yeah.
It's all good, man. I'm here.
Peace up.
DeQuell, we always love your takes. We love having you on. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks, DeQuell.
man.
See you
Be
next
safe,
week.
and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, DeQuell.
The great DeQuell Jackson, who can now scratch.
Oh, yeah.
There he goes.
There he goes.
There he goes.
There he is.
Happy hour somewhere, baby.
Happy holidays,
Happy
baby.
hour somewhere.
Happy holidays, baby.
It's happy hour at the Jackson
See you,
household right
DeQuell.
now.
We're going to get some of that
By the
good
way, you
Kanye
can take
one day.
Mikey McNuggets off your Christmas card list. He's
Yeah.
no longer on it.
It's still my boy.
That was a terrible take.
Yeah, that was a terrible
pretty
take.
awful.
So tell me, you didn't play offense because you weren't good enough? Come on, Mike.
That came out so wrong. I can't wait to go back and watch the tape.
Yeah, it came out horrible.
And that was my guy. Hey, what I told you guys in the show, DeQuell watched the whole hour after the show last time. He's still on right now. He's actually listening.
He'll
So-
watch.
Mike has now insulted DeQuell and Eric Metcalf.
Yeah, good one. Nice job.
Listen, if I have to be the bad guy in this show and ask the tough questions, someone has to.
Someone's got to do it. No, Mikey, we love you. You know that.
We have one thing, then we'll go do final takes. But Johnny Stanton played Dungeons & Dragons yesterday.
yes.
Oh, yes.
Love it.
We didn't get a ton of great video from it. It's tough to shoot Dungeons & Dragons because it's all imaginary, as Anthony
Loved
told
it
me
when
this
I was a
morning.
kid.
But earlier, before we started, we actually went one-on-one with Johnny Stanton for 60 seconds on some non-football related questions. And we've been joking about playing this for 3 weeks. Hey, Steve, let's play 108 and react. Here we go. All right, Johnny Stanton. Favorite restaurant in Cleveland?
Banana Blossom in Ohio City.
Best way to prepare a potato?
Mashed.
What superpower would you have?
Flight.
Cake or
I take
pie?
that back. Telekinesis. Go.
Telekinesis. Yes.
Telekinesis.
Why?
Oh, just be able to move stuff in my mind would be the coolest thing. I'd be able to fly. I'd be able to pick up myself.
Cake or pie?
Cake.
Dream dinner guest.
Jason Momoa.
Oh, that's a good one.
Favorite song at this moment?
Sexy Villain by Remy Wolf.
Can you sing a little bit for us?
Sexy Villain. That's all I'm going to
Queso or guac?
Queso.
Hot
Oh,
guac?
guac, sorry.
Guac?
Yes.
Hot coffee, iced coffee.
Hot coffee.
Favorite city in the world that's not Cleveland?
Rancho Santa Margarita, California.
Best fast food burger?
In-N-Out.
That's the wrong answer. You know
That's
that, right?
absolutely the right answer.
Animal style on the fries?
Animal style. Always.
60 seconds with Johnny Stanton.
That was good.
That was great. No, you get your Christmas card back.
You guys like In-N-Out Burger, by the way?
Yeah,
I like
It's
it out. It's overrated.
I
It's
went
overrated.
there. I went to California for the first time a couple of years ago. I had a great time. Loved it. Loved it.
Yep.
But I was so excited to try it, and I was like, it's not
Yeah, it's very overrated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good burger, but when you talk to people from California that have lived on it and they talk to you about it before you have your first one, they make it sound like it changes burgers.
I know.
They're doing something to a burger and no one else can do.
Right.
No fast
that
food
good.
burger is changing my life.
No, absolutely not. All I would say,
I like Swenson's.
Shake Shack before
Yeah,
they went
Swenson's is
big
good.
commercial, when they were just
Yeah.
a couple in New York City,
Yeah, was good.
unbelievable.
But the best burgers to me are like places, independent places.
Yes.
A lot of, especially
Mom
in
and pop,
Cleveland.
hole in the
We got
wall.
so many. I love. Oh God, I can't think of the name of it. In Rocky River on Old River Road. Flip side.
Yeah, flip side.
There's
There's
like
one in
3 or
Chagrin
4 of
Falls
them,
too.
right?
I
Their
love flip
burgers are
side
outstanding.
burgers.
They're always perfect.
They have one they put jalapenos on, and the
Yeah.
thing comes. It's like this big. You can barely fit it in your mouth.
By the way,
Delicious.
you need to be subscribing to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show because me and Bull do have a blog out. Where did we
Yes.
go last week?
We went to Urban Gourmet Grill. Sorry, not
Gourmet
Did you
Grill.
eat healthy?
We both ate healthy. We will
Yeah.
have that blog out tonight. Make sure
Yeah.
you subscribe to it.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we're doing the weight loss challenge.
Yeah.
And Tuesday is the weigh-in. And I'm really interested to see what
After
kind of
holiday?
discipline you guys have over
Yeah.
the Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah,
you know there's
I
gonna be
already got
buns and
already got my
burgers.
meals planned out. Not having any burger. Well, we're having turkey burgers, but I'm having it with no bun, no cheese.
He's in this now.
Listen, I'm ready to go extreme vegetable diet. I might go raw vegetable on Bull. I ain't got no time.
We had a great meal at Gourmet Guy in Rocky River. Yeah, we ordered. It was a bowl. He got rice. I got quinoa. And then I had chicken and salmon. He had chicken and then a bunch of vegetables.
I haven't seen you in the gym all week.
Hey,
though.
listen, you know I got a gym over there at the place. Look, here's the thing.
Hold on.
Look
My
what I
man
said.
Bull talking about quinoa,
I know.
raw vegetables.
Next thing he's talking about kale.
I said, oh, she's not gonna have any ribs during the holiday.
You know what? I don't even know who you guys are anymore.
Got the ribs.
You don't like quinoa?
Okay, I love quinoa.
Listen,
He loves
Yeah.
quinoa.
But I might have to sequester myself. I
I
go
want to
home.
live a while.
I
gotta
go
lose
home for
weight.
the holidays too. Aunties and uncles over there, they got the grill out. Come on over here. You don't want one of them
Don't go
bones?
to the store because you know I got pastries.
Oh,
you going to a family gathering on Monday?
Yeah, I'm going on
Oh,
Sunday.
you're in big trouble Monday.
Listen, I'm trying to keep him out of the store where the pastries are. So you know, this is a funny
Pastries.
weekend. 'Cause, you know, people
Pastries
come
are my
by.
poison.
My son would actually. We got rained out my Little League game, but my son couldn't play anyway because he had to leave school home sick.
Oh,
He was
really?
sick, right? And he's like barely movable on the couch. Hadn't had anything to eat. And he goes to my wife. He goes, "Mommy, Can I have some ice cream? So of course they got him. I was like, wait till I leave before you get the ice cream. So they got him ice cream, but
you
none
guys
for
are
me.
both doing great. You
Let's
were
go.
down 13 pounds.
13
You were
pounds.
down 6.5.
Yeah.
And we're well on our way.
I need a big number. I need a big
Yeah,
number.
you do.
I
You need a
big
bounce
number.
back number.
I need a big
You need a
number.
bounce back number.
6.5 is a lot of weight
Listen,
loss.
don't-
I just did,
don't sleep
I
on
had a
6.5.
ridiculous weight loss.
You did.
had a good weight loss too.
McTender's got something. What you got,
Yeah.
McTender's, bro?
I think my favorite part of having DeQuell on is whenever he leaves, the text after.
Yeah,
So this is what
yeah.
I just got from
What'd he
DeQuell.
say?
It's on, brother. All caps.
Good.
You better get in the gym now.
He's gonna kick your ass.
He is. He's coming
I can't.
for you.
I can't.
Literally.
Yeah, he's coming. Listen, I can't either.
So
'Cause there will
it's
be-
gonna happen, and our camera kit's coming in next week, so we'll have the full 4K camera. So if I lose or win, it'll be in extremely high definition.
Let me make
we
this
might have to make a
suggestion.
wager.
Yeah.
Mike Polk has a complete wardrobe of referee gear.
Oh,
So
yes.
he'll have a cool, black, white striped jersey. He'll have the whole NBA ref outfit. So he can officiate the game just to
Okay.
make it funny.
Is it one-on-one or is it shooting?
Oh, one-on-one would be
Three-point shootout.
great. Oh,
How
one-on-one.
about
would be
one-on-one?
We'll do both.
DeQuell could just crush him.
Hey, bro, you gonna get hurt. Like,
Yeah.
You shouldn't play one-on-one with DeQuell.
telling you,
I think that's a mistake.
Up to 21, we'll spot him 10.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's
Spot
sliding
you
He might
Yeah.
get
Ball
hurt
first.
though.
he's a
He get hurt.
Division One. He's a Division 2 or 3 athlete. What you play basketball? What
DeQuell
division
outweighs
that
him
is?
by like 100 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if DeQuell puts me in the post, I have no chance.
You're
Like, I'll
dead.
tell you right now. But if we play 3 dribbles or something like that, I got it.
Mike's got teenager strength. DeQuell's got
Mike's
man
a
strength.
good shooter, too.
Yeah.
Who y'all putting y'all money? I'll wager.
I'm way stronger than y'all.
Well,
I
wager.
think
Mike
you guys
would
are
be like
underestimating
plus-
my
You're,
strength.
you're in shape.
Mike's plus
I see it.
210.
I don't-
Mike's plus 210, so you got to lay money.
I don't bet against the football
gotta
player.
leave.
We'll
got
make
a
it a
line
good bet,
on
bad
this.
bet that day, by the way.
exactly.
All right, what are we going to do? We're
Yes.
going to break and then
We're going to
final
break
takes?
and do final takes so Bull can get out of here.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're back with final takes right after this.
Man.
Bull setting a
You
line
know,
on the game.
I don't bet against the football players.
Oh yeah.
Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I'm a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. My favorite all-time Cleveland sports moment, you're not going to believe this, it was Rajay Davis's home run in Game 7 that tied the score.
My favorite Cleveland sports moment would have to be the Kyrie Irving 2016 shot. It's the only time that I've ever cried over any sporting event.
And my ultimate Cleveland memory is when the Cavs won the championship and the day of the parade. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life.
We face challenges every day, some bigger than others, and we never know what's around the corner.
Through the highs and the lows, whatever we face it together. Each morning on Go, we are here with the facts, because what impacts you impacts all of us.
And understanding those facts helps us to make informed decisions for our families, our communities, and our future.
We are here for you every step of the way. Go, weekday mornings, 4:30 to 7 a.m.
What matters most to me is family. Sometimes you don't realize how important it is until you're away from them.
What matters most to Jay? His family. He is a big family man. What matters most to me? My family, my safety, your safety.
I think the thing that most impresses me about Betsy is her versatility. Give her any assignment that involves going in front of a television camera, and she's going to knock it out of the park.
What's new with Betsy and Jay? Weekdays at 5 on 3.
Hey, it's Adam the Bull for the ultimate Cleveland sports show, and I'll tell you what I think of when I think of Cleveland sports. It's that everybody loves it. I've been to other parts of the country, and there's people that love sports and people that don't care. But in Cleveland, everybody cares even a little bit from every walk of life, and that's what makes this city special. Whether it's football, baseball, or basketball, it doesn't matter. The people of Cleveland and Northeast Ohio love their teams like nowhere else in the country. Oh my God. Basically,
Yeah, they're God tier.
So now it's turned into arguments of best lineman of all time in the NFL. And that's always a good
Well,
one, too.
I'll
'cause
never
there's been some
forget.
great
There
ones.
was one. I don't remember actually what year it was, but there was one year where Anthony Munoz went up against Bruce Smith, Reggie White, and Lawrence Taylor in
And
3
allowed no
consecutive
sacks.
weeks and gave up no sacks.
Yeah, no, I remember
and those are
that.
3 of the greatest pass rushers in the history.
Technician.
Of the sport.
He's a technician.
Yeah,
Feet
he
work
was the
crazy.
size,
best.
footwork, speed.
Yeah.
Okay, final takes,
Yeah.
you're up.
All right, let me tell you something. We got another problem. Yesterday I'm talking about people with crazy hair, and I didn't even tell the guys what my thing was going to be. We have another problem that happens here. Why is it when it rains, people don't know how to drive? What is going on here?
Oh.
Like when it snows, I get it. All right, snow, but it rains all the time. So what is the problem? It's like people treat rain as if it's snow. They go to 30 miles an hour. If you're going to drive 30 miles an hour on the highway, please get to the right. Is there anything more annoying than the person who drives in the left lane going at the speed limit or below? You cannot be in the left lane unless you're willing to go a minimum of 5 and really 10 miles an hour over the speed. Let's be honest. Nobody drives the speed limit on the highway. No real driver drives the speed limit on the highway. So that's number one. You cannot drive too slow. And put your freaking phone down in the car, too. When I see somebody with they're driving like this. I mean, you can't be driving on the highway looking at your phone like that.
Every day you see it.
It makes me crazy. They're swerving. I'm honking these idiots. One time, and then today, I had like road rage today, all right? So I'm driving in, and I don't drive slow. Like when I'm on the highway, I'm cooking. But I was getting close to getting off the highway, so I go into the right lane. I'm still going above the speed limit. The speed limit was 60. I was on 90. I was still doing 70, but in the right lane. And this person's driving up my tail. Up my tail. Now, I don't ever do that to anybody, even in the left lane when they're going too slow. But I'm doing 70 in the right lane, and this teenage girl, of course, teenager, period, doesn't necessarily have to be a girl. In this case, it was a girl.
Good catch.
Is she because teenager, first of all, you should be 21 to get a driver's license. If you're 21 to get alcohol, you should be 21 to get a driver's license and 21 to have a gun at least. But this girl is driving. She's looking at her phone. She is like, it seems like 6 inches behind my tailgate. So I will admit that I got some road rage. And at that point, I put my foot on the brake.
Yeah.
And I was like willing to take the hit, which was really stupid and irresponsible. And hopefully my wife and son are not watching this right now. But I did that, and it was like she didn't even notice. And then I just pulled over. So stop driving like an idiot. I know today wasn't rain, and I morphed into what happened today. But people can't drive in the rain, and it makes me nuts. Why can't you drive in the rain?
I know, it is baffling. G. Bush.
Listen, man, we talk about all kind of negative stuff, and sometimes we get into the sports and we get into the Browns, and people talk about the suspensions and all that good stuff when you trade Baker. But I just want to give people a little confidence and to give them a little pick me up. Listen, all that stuff is cool, but when these dudes get to rolling at the first part of the season, the Cleveland Browns are going to be dangerous. Listen what I'm saying, dangerous. Deshaun Watson is out here. Everybody that go out there that been covering the team for years, from all your top reporters, Mary Kay, and everybody who got a pen and paper is saying it's levels to this thing. Deshaun Watson is showing that. Nick Chubb is out here looking great. Kareem Hunt. I'm sorry, I did say you might be on the chopping block. You know, I was just lying to myself. He's looking great. And Amari Cooper, by the way, don't let my previous comments about Odell Beckham Jr. mess up something. Amari Cooper is a bona fide playmaker. He's going to have over 1,100 yards, and Njoku going to get touches. The Cleveland Browns will have the funnest year of your lives this year.
Whoa.
Mark it. It's going to be the funnest year. You're going to watch Browns games, and you're going to call old people that you never talked to, high school people, because you're so happy after the game. Yeah, Chuck, man, you see them doggone Browns? Man, I'll tell you what, man, that Deshaun Watson, and you got to say his name right, that Deshaun Watson, boy, I tell you, boy. Yeah, boy, he put through 5,500 yards, man. Hey, Super Bowl. Look, sorry, Chuck, I got to go. But I'm telling you, we going to be dangerous.
Clip that, McTenders.
Oh, it will be.
Clip that.
Oh, that's
Funnest year of your life as a Browns fan.
Funnest year of your life. You're going to have a blast.
Brad Sellers.
him and them phones.
I love it.
All right, here.
Deshaun.
My final take is this, and bravo to Steve Kerr, right? Because Steve Kerr reminded us that sometimes you don't get to sit things out here. From my family to the families and our families, to the families in Texas, our prayers are with you. But I would tell you this, Steve Kerr reminded us that we have an obligation out here sometimes to handle tough questions and come up with solutions when they're not always the most popular to have, right? And I want to commend Steve Kerr for putting it out there because here, the tragedy that happened in San Antonio, we have an obligation and we have an opportunity at the same time to resolve some of the issues, right? Although they may be unpopular to be discussed, some things need to be discussed, and we have to be reminded of it. And the people that sit in positions sometimes, you have an obligation as a person who has taken on responsibility and an oath to deliver to this country, at times, right? No matter how unpopular it may be, how much smoke may come your way, right? I can only imagine what the final moments of those kids' lives were like in Uvalde, Texas. I can only imagine. And with that was blazed in my brain. There's an obligation that has to be undertook. And I want to commend Steve for reminding some people of what their obligations are to this country.
Well said, my friend. Mine's sort of along that vein. We're getting ready to go into Memorial Day weekend, and that's typically the beginning of summer. It's the unofficial beginning of summer. And G. Bush, you said you're going to a family picnic this weekend. A lot of people will. And I just want to take a brief second to remind everybody that life is short. It's fleeting, and tomorrow is not guaranteed. One of the teachers that was shot and killed in Texas, as her husband was making arrangements for a funeral, he had a heart attack and died. They have 4 kids. Tuesday, those 4 kids woke up and their life was perfectly normal. Not in their wildest nightmare could they ever imagine that just 3 days later they'd wake up without parents. So hug your kids. Hug them a little extra tightly this weekend. Kiss them. Tell them you love them. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Live every day like it's your last, and I promise you, you'll have no regrets when it's time to leave. Have a great weekend, guys. I hope you do.
Too. Everybody enjoy the holiday.
Yes.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Happy holiday.
Enjoy your families. Mikey, Anthony, Stevie behind the glass. You guys enjoy your families. Everybody out there, have a great weekend. Be safe. We're back on Tuesday. We're off Monday for the holiday weekend. But Tuesday, Serena Winters of the Cavs is going to join us. She's now a regular. So is Aditi Kinkhabwala. Did I get that right? Kinkhabwala. We're thrilled. She's going to be here every Tuesday and Thursday. And we're going to ask this question. Browns, #1 defense.
Did you hear Greg Newsom's comment?
I did hear Greg Newsom's comment. It's a little lofty. We're going to try to put it into perspective and find out exactly where this defense will fit in to the NFL structure. They're going to be good. I don't know if they're going to be the #1 defense. If they're the #1 defense, what you said earlier is 100% true. It's going to be the most fun season we've ever had as Browns fans. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for spending time with us. Enjoy your family, and we'll see you on Tuesday.